Okay, okay, okay. Thought I had enough to share, but apparent or enough time. I don't know what's happening. Mm, no, I want to show my face. How do I show my face? I don't want to add a source. I don't know what's happening, but it's happening. Uh, None of this. None. Okay. Remove. There! I did something. Motherfuck. Thanks for what I. Great. Okay, I don't know what's happening. But anyway, I was trying to share this places and I didn't do a very good job. I didn't have enough time. But now people are mad at me or something. I don't know what's happening. But if my day couldn't get any worse, it just did. Okay, I don't need this. I do need this, and I need this, and this is how we're gonna. No, no. The other way is how we are gonna do it. There. Hi, guys. So, are you ready for some Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? This is going to be the cross examination. So, it's going to be the funny part. And it's going to be over today. Okay. It's on 125 speed. Hi, Miss Muddy. Hi, Ricky. Welcome to the party pen. Welcome. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and did I share my screen? I did, right? Did not. I did not. Okay. Share screen. All right, hold on. Share screen. Okay. There we go. Here we go. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly here too. We had some hail come through a little bit ago.
Where there was.
I want you to approach,
Yes, ma'am.
please.
Ms. Dombrowski, have you had any discussions with your brother about the op-ed?
Yes.
Object to anything after the yes is your second.
I'm not sure if it is or not.
It's a yes or no question.
Okay, all right, next question.
As Mr. Depp's brother and as his personal manager, do you have any understanding how the publication of the op-ed has affected your brother's career?
Drunken wizard! Haha! Love your face, friend.
I don't know if it's yours.
I apologize,
Yeah,
Your Honor.
that's fine.
But she's worked with her brother for
I'll
several
allow it,
decades.
but let's see where the answer goes.
You may answer.
So, it's about to be cross-examination of Johnny Depp's sister. And this is not going to take that long. And the next funny one is coming up. But again, Johnny Depp's lawyers are so serious. And it's hard to sit through. I have it on 1.25 speed, so it'll go quickly. But we're waiting for cross-examinations always, because that's hilarious.
I'm sorry, would you mind asking again?
Do you have an understanding of how the publication of the op-ed has affected your brother's career?
Yes. The op-ed is written, the way it was written, the wordings within the op-ed make it very clear of a time frame.
Director, to answer that question again, maybe you should ask it again.
How has the publication of Ms. Heard's op-ed, putting aside for a moment its relationship to your brother, its references to your brother, how has it affected his career?
I believe there's a negative effect on anyone's career when there's accusations, as there have been.
How has it affected him personally?
Objection, foundation.
She's his sister, Your Honor.
I'll allow it, go ahead.
Personally, I know he doesn't want people to feel that he could ever be that type of person, which he isn't. And to know that actually that is something that is attached to him now, which trickles down to his children, where I think that part, more than anything, is the part that has bothered him, the fact that his children have to, have this in their life.
Ms. Dombrowski, do you believe that your brother physically abused Ms. Heard?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance, foundation.
I'll sustain the objection.
Do you believe that Ms. Heard is a public figure representing domestic violence?
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
No, I don't. I believe the opposite.
Excuse me, I'll sustain the objection.
Thank you,
Thank
Your
you. You can strike that answer, please. Thank you.
As his sister and as his personal manager for decades, are you aware of any occasion on which any woman other than Ms. Heard has ever accused?
Do you need it up more? Do you need it up more? I can turn it all the way up. Okay. I got it all the way up.
Your brother of any type of physical abuse?
Objection, foundation, hearsay, and leading.
I'll allow the answer.
No.
How has Ms. Heard's op-ed impacted your life?
Objection, relevance.
What's the relevance?
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have right
all
now.
right, I'll withdraw a question. Okay, all right. Cross-examination?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Here we go. Let the hilarity begin. If you got your snacks, get your snacks. Smoke them if you got them, because here it comes.
Good afternoon, Ms. Dombrowski.
Good afternoon.
So I believe we covered some of this, but just want to make sure. So you're employed at a company your brother owns, right?
Yes,
It's called Infinitum Nile?
Yes.
Is that right? And it's Mr. Depp's production company?
yes,
And you're the president of that company, right?
yes.
And that is your only source of income, correct?
I have other projects that I work on the side.
It's your only job, right?
It's my full-time job, yes.
Right. And job-wise, you don't have any other sources of income other than Infinitum Nile, right?
Other projects, I have the opportunity with other projects to make more money.
Right. Your Honor, may I approach?
All right, if you could just show counsel what
Sure.
you're approaching with.
It's just a copy of your deposition.
Look at them trying to look all professional and shit.
He's just giving copies.
With all
Mr. Chair.
those papers. Did you see that? Did you see how she came up there with all those papers? And he didn't take any of them but one. Look, these people are foolish.
Oh, I assume it wouldn't be. Okay, thank you. Yes, please.
Ms. Dombrowski, do you remember giving a deposition in this case?
Yes,
And just a couple months ago, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And you remember before you started that deposition being under oath, right?
Yeah,
Okay. And you swore to tell the truth?
yeah,
And you were asked questions by counsel for Ms. Heard, and you gave answers, right?
yes.
Could you please take a look at page 19 of that deposition, transcript in front of you?
I'm sorry. Okay.
And do you see on page 19, line 8 through 10, you were asked a question, do you have any other sources of income other than from Infinitum Nile? And you answered no, job-wise, no.
Right.
Do you see that?
I do,
And was that testimony correct?
yes.
Okay.
But it's the same as what I said today.
Now, you have a huge financial interest in your brother's career, right? The money that Infinitum Nile makes comes from money that Mr. Depp makes, correct?
It hasn't always historically known.
What else does it come from?
We've had deals with other entities, companies.
And for the most part, the better your brother does in his career, the more money Infinitum Nile makes, though, correct?
I don't think it's exactly like that, no.
And you have your brother has done projects that Infinitum Nile has been the production company for, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And you have a financial interest in that company, correct?
I'm an employee.
Okay. Are you employed by his other companies as well?
I'm employed by Infinitum Nile.
Are you employed by the other companies that your brother has?
No,
Where do you receive your paycheck from? Infinitum Nile?
Infinitum Nile.
And you have a financial interest in how Infinitum Nile performs financially, correct?
I have a salary that I get, so that's not a financial interest, if you're asking if I get a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
No,
You wouldn't consider
But
salary
she
financial
talks
interest? Is that your
about-
testimony?
I consider it a salary, yes, but it sounds like you're asking something different. I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood.
She talks a lot faster than he does. But I think he talks slow on purpose. But I sped this up to 1.25. So we could go through it a lot faster.
Yeah, the bottom line is you draw a salary from Infinitum Nile,
Yes,
and that's your brother's production company, correct?
yes,
Now, you feel protective of your younger brother, always have, right?
yes.
And you testified earlier today about Mr. Depp's reactions to some of your mother's anger growing up.
Mm-hmm.
How old was Mr. Depp during the periods you were talking about? Like when he was A kid? Is that basically what you were talking about?
The reactions to mom's anger began as when we were children, and we had the same reaction always, was to leave.
Right, and when you were testifying earlier about Mr. Depp's reaction being to leave, you were referring to when he was, before you left the house, when he was a kid, right?
Yes, but we left the house not too far apart from each other, but yes.
When Mr. Depp would leave as a child during the times when your mother was angry at him, was he addicted to drugs back then?
No,
Was he addicted to alcohol?
no.
You testified a little bit about Mr. Depp's former partner, Vanessa Paradis. You were friends with Vanessa, right?
It was a family, so.
Right. You considered her family.
Yeah,
Right.
she was part of the family, yes.
Right. And you were friendly with her?
Yes,
You liked her?
yes.
You were happy that your brother was with her?
I was happy that my brother was happy.
Yeah. And you didn't want to see him split up from Vanessa, did you?
You know what, I wanted both of them to be happy. It didn't matter to me if they split up or not.
You were devastated when they split up, weren't you?
I don't think I was devastated.
Were you happy about it?
No, I wanted my family to be okay.
What were your emotions when you learned that your brother was splitting from Vanessa?
If I had to say, I was probably, a little sad for both of them, but beyond that, I don't really recall big emotions.
And you were sad because you were losing her as part of what you just testified was your family, right?
No,
You weren't sad about that? Now, on May 21st, 2016, you were asked some questions about that, and I know your mother's passing must have been very tough, so I'm not going to ask specific questions about that. I'm going to ask questions about the next day just to make sure that I had your testimony right. Can you remind me, you said you saw your brother the morning of May 21st?
I stopped by there at some point in the daytime, in the early part of the day.
Approximately what time?
I honestly don't remember.
Was it before lunch?
I don't remember the timing. It was just daytime.
It was daytime. And you testified that when you stopped by there for the first time that day that you were upset because it seemed like he and Amber had been fighting. Is that what you said?
I said that they had been arguing. They had been arguing, and I've said that I didn't love that they were arguing on. It was a horrible day to argue on.
And that was, your testimony was that you were upset that they had been arguing when you stopped by that during the daytime, right? Okay. Now you have no understanding of any of Amber or Mr. Depp's communications leading up to May 21st, correct?
I don't know that I have a lot of that, no.
Okay. But your testimony is that when you stopped by during the daytime on May 21st, that they had been fighting and that made you upset. Is that right? I'm just trying to understand what you testified to.
It's not that it made me upset. I found it upsetting.
Did you ever become aware that they hadn't actually seen each other or communicated at all before he came over at 8 p.m. on May 21st?
Foundation.
She's testified that she said that they were fighting earlier in the day. I'm asking her if she ever became aware that they hadn't actually seen each other or talked that day.
I'll allow the question, just go ahead.
I'll ask it again. Did you ever become aware that Amber and Mr. Depp hadn't seen each other or talked that day before he came to the...
She's definitely smarter than him. But she's the big sister.
Columbia building the evening of May 21st?
No, I just know that what I understood was that they had a fight, whether it was over the phone or, I don't know. They were arguing.
Now, when your mother was in the last days of her life in the hospital, Amber visited her, right?
Amber did come one time by herself, if that's what you're referring to. She did come one time, shortly before Johnny was also coming.
And she visited her actually more than one time, correct?
I don't recall her visiting on her own more than one time, no. I remember her coming one time because I didn't know she was coming. And Johnny was actually also coming.
Right.
So they ended up there together.
I guess I'm a little confused because you just testified that she only visited one time.
Alone. This is what I'm saying. I only remember the one time alone, where she showed up alone. I only remember one time. And Johnny came shortly after she was there.
And other times she visited with Johnny or other people, is that right?
She visited with Johnny sometimes.
During the time that Amber and Johnny were together, you became aware that he was using drugs and alcohol excessively, correct?
Action beyond the scope, correct?
All right.
Your Honor, she's testified to what she observed during their relationship. I think it's within the scope.
Nah, that's not what I mean. She just seems smarter than Johnny, and it might be because she's older and she's well spoken. That might be what it is, how she carries herself.
It's just never observed Mr. Depp using drugs. I think it's beyond the scope.
No, I'll overrule the objection. You can ask the question. Go ahead. Did you want to ask the question again?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
During the time that Amber and Johnny were dating, did you become aware that he was using drugs or alcohol excessively?
Yes. Okay. Get your steak, because he's gonna try to make you a steak, but it's gonna end up shit tartar. Just wait.
I became aware that he had been drinking, and during the time they were dating, I became aware of, at one point, a certain medication, yes.
And you formed the opinion that not only had he been drinking, but he was drinking excessively, correct?
I don't know that I formed excessively, but he was drinking.
You became aware that he was using booze, right?
I knew he was drinking.
And you knew he was using cocaine, right?
I never saw him do that, so
You became aware that he was using cocaine, correct?
I never saw him use anything like that. I became aware of people saying that.
And you became so concerned about that that you told your brother to stop using cocaine, correct?
I don't know that I remember telling him to stop using cocaine. I think I might have told him anything that he was doing, he should stop doing.
Heather, can you pull up Exhibit 214, please? Your Honor, I'll obviously move for admission before it's published to the jury.
That's fine.
Just wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be on their screen. Can you flip it? I figured.
All is,
Sorry for the delay, Your Honor. Appreciate your patience.
The issue is what's on the screens,
Okay.
not on the
Okay.
laptop, so that's the difficulty.
okay. I don't know.
The
Okay.
laptop, so that's the difficulty.
Okay. I don't know. Do you want to unplug it and plug it back in just to see? To the system?
Audio problems, it's a real thing in this trial.
Browse the four texts.
Okay.
That looks better. Ms. Dombrowski, I'd like to direct your attention to the four texts in the middle of the page. If you look in the from column,
Yep, that
there's a name that
makes
says Christy
sense.
Dombrowski and it has a number. Is that your number?
Yes.
That makes sense, Ricky.
And are those texts from you to your brother, Johnny Depp?
Yes.
And those texts were sent on or about February 5th, 2014?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 214.
Any objection to 214?
Can I just say something?
No,
though?
just wait, ma'am, just wait for a
I'm
question.
sorry.
Yes, sir.
Sidebar. I don't know why I'm so stupid. Judge, why is he so stupid? I don't really know. Please get your shit together. I don't know how. I can't teach him how, Judge. Look, son, you need to get your shit together and tell that cow to get her shit together. No, 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 just go ahead. That's what they're saying to each other right now. They're trying to tell Rotten Bottom to get his shit together. Longest sidebars of life.
214 will receive it redacted?
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct? Okay. Over objection, that's fine. And you wanted to publish just the redacted parts, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. That's fine. Right now, you just have the dates up. Is that what you want to start with?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You can publish that
Thank you.
too, Jerry. Okay.
Ms. Dombrowski,
Yes.
just because we can only show part of this page, do you see that these, you just testified these were text messages between you and Mr. Depp, right? And do you see that these text messages were sent on February 5th, 2014?
Yes.
The bottom three? Okay. And those bottom three, you just looked at when we saw the whole page, and I know it's a little cumbersome for the jury not seeing that, but you testified that the bottom three were text messages from you to your brother, right?
Yes.
Okay. Heather, could you just scroll to the right? Please. That's good. Thank you. So on February 5th, 2014, you sent 3 texts to your brother. You sent one that said, stop drinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said one that said, stop Coke, right?
I would like
So
Coca-Cola.
I assume you weren't talking about the soft drink, right?
It doesn't appear to be.
You were talking about cocaine, correct?
I would have said, no, I'm talking about Coca-Cola. Did you know that shit is so potent it eat rust? You know? Like, I don't want him to have that in his kidneys. I definitely meant the soft drink. Yes, absolutely. It eats rust. It's very, very soluble thing.
I don't know what these are in reference to, so I remember they brought this up at my deposition, and these are something that they're, I don't know if there's more context to them. I don't know what they're in reference to. I know what they say, but I don't know what they're in reference to.
And what they say is that on February 5th, 2014, you were telling your brother, Johnny Depp, to stop using cocaine, correct?
I know, no.
I wrote those
That's
words,
Coca-Cola.
but that's what I'm saying. I don't know that I was telling him to stop doing that. You know, in context, it would be different. It could be a different scenario.
Well, let's take it word by word. Coke, when you wrote Coke, you meant cocaine, not the soft drink, right?
Yeah,
And when you wrote pills, you meant prescription pills, right?
yeah.
I am like, no. I'm
So you were telling him on February 5th, 2014, to stop drinking,
Bad.
stop Coke, and stop pills, right?
I wrote the words.
And did you have any reason to believe when you wrote that Mr. Depp had been on a bender recently?
I don't recall writing this, so I don't recall the context of it. I understand that the words are there, but I don't recall the timing or the writing of it. I don't recall anything about it necessarily.
You weren't joking when you wrote that, right? It wasn't a joke, right?
I probably was not joking, but you know, maybe I was repeating something that someone else told me to write.
You were telling your brother to stop drinking, stop cocaine, and stop pills because you believed that he had a problem with drinking cocaine and pills, correct?
He's
I didn't believe he
trying
had the
so
problem
hard.
as much as someone else was trying to make me believe that he had the problem.
Did you have any reason to believe that Mr. Depp had been on a recent bender?
I didn't witness benders. I don't, you know what I mean? So I'm not involved in the benders.
Understood. I'm asking, at the time when you sent these 3 text messages on February 5th, 2014, did you have any reason to believe that Mr. Depp had been on a recent bender?
I couldn't tell you about February, whatever date that is back then, and
He's drinking too many soft drinks. She should just say that. No. Look, soda ruins your kidneys. It eats rust. And it makes you fat. So I was telling him, don't drink Coca-Cola. I don't know. But that's what I would say.
what would know at this moment.
Did you have any reason to be worried about Mr. Depp when you sent these texts?
Again, I don't know what was happening in life at that time. I don't recall that period, the dates. I don't recall I don't recall anything about that time. These texts, I know what the words are, but I don't know what the context is of them.
Right, and so I'm asking you a question as best I can, which was, when you sent these texts, did you have any reason to be worried about Mr. Depp's use of alcohol, cocaine, or pills?
No.
Again, I don't recall the time period of sending these texts, so I don't know that I would have any reason at that time. I don't know.
Would you have sent the text if you didn't have a reason to be worried about his use of alcohol, cocaine, or pills?
Yes.
I could send those 3 separate lines like that, 3 separate texts. I could do that if it was, there's different reasons that maybe I could do that. It doesn't mean that was me giving him a message.
Have you ever sent texts to anyone else to tell them to stop drinking, stop coke, or stop pills before?
Yes. Many times.
Again, I don't know that I'm telling him to stop drinking, stop coke, and stop pills. That's what I'm saying. It's the context of this.
And I appreciate that, but that wasn't my question. My question was, have you ever sent texts to anyone else in your life telling them to stop drinking, stop coke, or stop pills?
I don't believe I've ever told anybody to stop doing any of those things in a text message, but I also don't know that that's what I was doing here, is what I'm trying to say.
But you wrote those words to Mr. Depp, right?
I wrote those words.
And you didn't know the behavior that Mr. Depp was engaging in around this time frame, did you?
I don't know the time frame. I don't know what time frame you're actually referring to.
Well, in the days leading up on or around February 5th, 2014, you didn't love the behavior that Johnny Depp was engaging in, did you?
I don't recall anyone's behavior from February 2014. I don't recall February 2014.
Would it refresh your recollection perhaps to see other text messages that you sent on or around this time to determine whether or not you were worried about Mr. Depp?
If there's other context, I guess. I don't know.
Why don't we do this? Heather, can you please pull up Exhibit 210? Your Honor, may I approach?
All right.
Thank you.
No, but her attorneys are trying to do this on purpose because they're trying to make Johnny look like everybody was so worried about his drug abuse at this time. That's why he beat her up, because he was on all these drugs and he was so crazy and inflamed. See, Judge, you still don't have his shit together. I thought I told you to get your shit together, rotten bottom. I thought I had it together, Your Honor. Look, get it together. That's what she's telling him. And he's trying so hard to show her how he's got it together.
Well, blue. You see the chain.
All right, who won this argument? Rotten bottom one.
Ms. Dombrowski, do you recognize this document as a text message chain between you and Amber Heard on February 3rd, 2014?
Yes,
And you see the chain, it starts about 5:20 p.m., right?
yes,
And there's messages from Amber to you are the ones on the right, correct, in blue?
yes,
And messages from you to Amber are the ones in gray on the left, right?
yes.
And if you go, take a minute and just read that first page, please.
Everybody's so starstruck by Johnny Depp. He won the second he went in the courtroom. Nobody liked that hose bag at all. And no one. Even before she came around faking it, people were like, there's no way. I wasn't even going to watch this trial, but then all the trial watchers started watching it. And it turns out it was entertaining as hell. How long does it take you to read, lady?
Third, 2014. Does this refresh your recollection about a text conversation you had with Amber on or about February 3rd, 2014?
Well, I can see this as our text exchange.
Okay. And does this refresh your recollection about concern that you may have had of the behavior that Mr. Depp was engaged in on or around that time?
Yep.
Again,
I'll allow that question. Go ahead.
I'll ask it again, does this refresh your recollection about behavior that Mr. Depp may have been engaging in around that time?
I remember this period and what Amber was believing that he was doing, yes, at this period.
But does this refresh your recollection about your worry and concern for your brother Johnny Depp around this time?
Still don't recall having a severe worry around this time.
Okay. Well, before you didn't recall having any worry, so does this at least refresh your recollection that you had some worry?
Honestly, I don't recall having a worry. I've had worries in the years, but I don't recall having a worry at this time. I don't recall it.
Okay. So did you have any reason to doubt what you were reading from Ms. Heard in these texts?
To be honest, she would write things quite often or explain things quite often, and it's a bit more dramatic, maybe, than what we understood it to be, or maybe even sometimes the instances were different than what she was describing. So,
But in any event, this conversation that you had with Ms. Heard gave you concern enough to tell your brother, stop coke, stop pills, stop booze, right?
No, I don't think it did.
It didn't. And I've asked this before, but we'll take a look at this. Is it true you didn't love the behavior he was engaging in around this time, right?
Again, I didn't witness a lot of the behavior that people are talking, that you guys are referencing. I didn't witness a lot of it.
Take a look at page 2,
Okay.
please.
He's stepping all up in it.
And just take a minute to read that, and then I'll have some questions about both of the pages.
Mm-hmm.
What you had been told by Ms. Heard on the first 2 pages of these texts gave you concern about Mr. Depp's behavior and made you not love anything that he was engaging in behavior-wise around this time, right?
What I had heard from her in these texts, I didn't really love where life was at the time.
Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of these 2 pages in their entirety for the reasons that we discussed, both as impeachment of the witness.
All right. There are other statements in here that I do find as hearsay, so we can work with it. I'll reserve on that for this time, and we'll have other issues with it outside the presence of the jury, and we'll work on redactions, okay?
That sounds good. Can I ask her questions just about her language?
Okay.
And then we can work on redactions?
Yeah, yes, sir. Okay, yes, sir.
On the first page, Your Honor, or I'm sorry, on the first page, Ms. Dombrowski, you write, "Where are the kids?" Why did you write that?
I don't
Ms.
know.
Hurd?
I don't know. I mean, I remember they asked me that at the deposition. I'm not sure.
You wrote that because you had concerns about where Mr. Depp's kids were at this time, right?
Well, if she was saying he wasn't home, I was asking where the kids were.
Because you were concerned for the kids' well-being, particularly when Mr. Depp was in this sort of state, correct?
No, I was curious about where the kids were if he wasn't home.
Were you ever concerned about,
I've seen this trial to the end, but I still don't know what the point of bringing his kids up is. It's just, his kids are grown-ass adults. They star in their own movies.
the impact on the kids of Mr. Depp's drug use and alcohol use?
No,
So when you wrote "Where are the kids," you had no concern for their actual well-being. Is that right?
the concern, it's not that kind of concern. She's saying he's not home. I was wondering where the kids were so that they weren't alone.
When you wrote her on page 2, "Do you want to come to office to talk?" You wrote that because you were concerned about what was going on with Mr. Depp at that point, right?
No, actually, I wrote that so that she could come to the office so that we could talk
Right.
about all of it,
All of what?
of her text.
Your Honor, I'd ask for permission to publish the bottom text on page 2 that I think,
It's not up here. You just mean her text.
sorry. And I guess while she's pulling that up, I'd move for partial admission of Exhibit 210 with redactions to be,
I'm going to reserve on that.
okay.
All right, that's.
Look at
I'm gonna
Ben
reserve the
Chu,
admission,
he
so
is
I'm not going to instruct the jury
ready.
this time. Okay.
Okay, okay.
But you can ask your questions about it.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. When you wrote Ms. Hurd on February 3rd, 2014 at 5:42 p.m., Ms. Dombrowski, "Worry about everything," you were telling her to worry about everything and all the types of behavior that Mr. Depp was engaging in at that time, right?
I was not telling her.
It doesn't sound like these texts have anything to do with Johnny. It really all sounds like it has to do with Amber Heard and her personal meltdown, not Johnny.
Worry about anything. That's the way I wrote that. Sounds like I say, I worry about everything.
You're saying that you're worrying about everything? Is that right?
Yes, as a whole.
Okay, so in contrast to what you testified a few minutes ago, you actually were very worried around this time frame, correct?
I was worried about what life was. That's what I said.
And the life that you were referring to here, what was going on in life was Mr. Depp's drug and alcohol abuse, correct?
What was going on in life was someone who constantly wanted to point out some sort of drug and alcohol abuse.
Is that unfair for a spouse not to want their husband to abuse drugs and alcohol?
It's not unfair at all.
So was that a negative to you that Ms. Hurd didn't love that?
I'm sorry?
Was that a negative to you that Ms. Hurd didn't love Mr. Depp's drug and alcohol abuse? Was that
The more
unreasonable for
this
her?
guy talks, the more I don't like.
To me, it was exaggerated is the problem, so.
It was exaggerated. But you testified that you personally have no personal knowledge of your brother doing cocaine.
I never saw him do it, no.
Okay. But you had enough concern to text him, stop doing coke, stop the pills, and stop the drinking, correct?
I don't like.
No, I really don't think that's what I was doing with him.
And what were you telling? You weren't talking about the Super Bowl, right? You were talking about drinking.
I
Coke and
understand,
drug
I
and
understand.
pills.
But the way it's written, and I know my writing, the way it's written, I don't feel like what I was doing was me giving him an order to do that. I wouldn't typically do that. So
You're recommending-
there's other context somewhere that, for that.
Right, and that's what we're trying to explore is what is that context? Because you're very direct in the text that the jury just looked at. Stop the booze, stop the pills, stop the coke. So if you weren't telling him to stop the booze, stop the pills, and stop the coke, what were you telling him?
I could have been telling him that, because I've had this conversation before, I could have been telling him, that in order to make her not constantly accusing, this is what she would need.
Right. You didn't write those words in your text, though, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And when you said in the February 3rd text message exchange with Ms. Heard, I don't love any of it.
If all they got is just that one text message, look, if that's all they got from this witness is one text message, bitch, pack it up. Pack it up.
I want to be able to talk with him. That was you expressing concern about Mr. Depp's drinking and drug use, correct?
That was me expressing concern about what life was. And there was arguments all the time, and it felt like there was just constant unpleasantness.
Right. And would it be unfair? Well, let me ask it this way. That unpleasantness, to your knowledge, was caused in part, at least, by your brother's drug and alcohol abuse, right?
I don't know that.
Did you ever reach your own conclusion that your brother had a problem with drugs and alcohol?
I knew my brother was drinking.
I'm
but
sorry.
I knew my brother was drinking. But in terms of like drugs, honestly, I have only one medication that I really knew of that, was an issue for him.
And what was that?
I don't remember the name of the medication. It was a prescription medication.
What was it?
It was like a pain medication that he had been taking for a long time.
And that was what you were referring to when you said stop pills, was prescription pain medication, correct?
Again, I wasn't necessarily referring to anything in particular. I know I wrote those words. I don't know the context of the words.
Okay. But in any event, you don't dispute that on February 5th, 20, whatever date that was, on February 5th, 2014, you wrote to your brother, stop drinking, stop coke, stop pills, right?
I wrote those words, but I don't know the context of the word.
Move on. Move on. He needs to move on.
Now, February 2014 wasn't the first time that you had communications with Ms. Heard relating to concerns about drug and alcohol abuse, right? By Mr. Depp, correct?
I don't know.
Heather, if you could pull up Exhibit 163, please.
What's the exhibit number, I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor, 163. Pulling that up, Ms. Dombrowski, let me ask you this. You knew that Mr. Depp's drug and alcohol problem was affecting his relationship with Ms. Heard, right?
I knew that she would say that. I mean, I knew that she would say that she had issues with, him with drugs and alcohol.
And you knew from those communications that it was negatively impacting their relationship, right?
I knew that she would write me about them, and I knew that she would. I know that she would, try to talk about them. And I know that she would say that they were negatively impacting. I don't know that that was the whole situation that they had going on. To be honest, though,
Well, you didn't disbelieve her when she told you that, right?
when she told me,
What you just testified to, that drinking and drugs were negatively impacting their relationship. You didn't disbelieve her, right?
oh, I didn't necessarily think it was true. No,
You didn't think it was true?
that it was negatively impacting their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't necessarily think it was 100% true. No.
Well, you true and then 100% true. So
True.
I'm trying to figure out where you're going with this. Or is it your testimony today that you never believed Ms. Heard when she would talk to you about Johnny's drugs and drinking?
No, I think you're taking it to an extreme.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at. I'm sorry if I am. So just explain to me what is. That's not your testimony. So.
I think she exaggerated things quite a bit.
But you tried to help Amber deal with Mr. Depp's drugs and drinking, correct?
I tried to make sure that I was helpful to Amber as best I could. Yes.
If you can look at the document in front of you, Exhibit 163.
I
Please.
always think Hi, Feather. How are you? See, You're late. Tried to wait till 9:30 for you because you usually show up at 9:30, and here you are at 10:30. I'm not moving it back any further. 9:30 it is.
This, a text exchange between you and Miss Heard on March 22nd.
Yes. Yeah, Rotten Bottom does have a thing for Johnny's sister. But just wait till just wait until the other lawyer shows up. There's a different guy.
2013, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And do you remember earlier you testified about being present during the filming of a documentary about Keith Richards?
Yes.
This was right around that time frame, correct?
I don't know.
Do you recall when that was?
I don't recall the dates.
And actually, one thing I wanted to ask you about that while we're at it is you testified earlier about not seeing cuts or bruises on her face. You remember that? Or do you have no knowledge whether she was wearing makeup or not that night, right?
Excuses, excuses, excuses. If I had a family, I'd blame them too.
I don't recall if she was wearing makeup or not. She typically did not.
Okay. And you weren't specifically looking for cuts or bruises because you suspected that Mr. Depp had abused her, right?
I would have no reason to look for cuts or bruises, but I would think if they were there, I would see them.
Okay. So if you look at page 1, Exhibit 163, and Your Honor, I'd move for permission to publish.
No, Your Honor, we object.
I'm going to sustain that objection.
I figured you would, but
Okay,
can I do the same thing and ask her about her words to Ms. Heard, and then we can reserving the right to publish it to the jury
You
depending
can
on
ask
Your
if
Honor's
it
ruling?
refreshes her memory about
Right.
the conversations you're trying to discuss,
Sure.
yes.
Okay. So, Ms. Dombrowski, do you recall having a conversation with Ms. Heard on or about March 22nd, 2013, in which Ms. Heard was expressing concerns to you about Mr. Depp's behavior?
No, I don't recall dates, so no.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and take a look at this document, please? And let's start with, just tell me when you're done with page 1, please.
Okay.
Oh, Ms. Dombrowski, I think that's you on the screen, which is okay if you want to mark it up.
We can quit. We got it.
I didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Doing their own redactions.
Okay.
Okay, I've read it.
Okay, so when you texted Ms. Heard, well, first of all, does this refresh your recollection about a conversation that you and Ms. Heard had on March 22nd, 2013, relating to Ms. Heard's concerns about Mr. Depp's behavior?
It really doesn't, but I see it here. It does.
But you don't dispute that it is a conversation that the two of you had?
This is a text exchange between the two of us, yes.
Okay. When you wrote, "Don't be sorry," exclamation point, I am not completely sure if what is going on or why, but I don't love what it is. What do you mean by that?
I'm not 100% sure. I believe I probably meant, once again, how life was.
Hey,
Right,
Heather.
life including Mr. Depp's conduct toward my client, Amber Heard, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you wrote, "It is sad and I'm sorry you guys are going through this. I'm here if there's anything I can do." You were talking about you were sad that they were going challenges that drugs and alcohol on behalf of Mr. Depp were posing to their.
Feather, if you're watching this, I've got the lawyers on 1.25. So if you have to watch me at 1.5, just know the lawyers, I sped them up on my end. It's okay. just know when you speed it up, the lawyers are going to be super quick.
Relationship.
And I'm better at 1.5 anyway, because once you're done watching me live and you watch me on the replay, I am really slow because my medication slows my voice down.
Correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll allow it if she can answer.
I don't think that I'm saying that I'm sad about that. I'm saying that I'm sad, about whatever it is that, that they're going through, but I don't know exactly what it is that they're going through.
Right. And right, two texts underneath that, Ms. Heard tells you what they're going through, right?
She does go into, about, what they have going on.
And then below that, you say, I think with anyone in that place, confrontation unfortunately doesn't help, and sometimes conversations can seem like confrontations. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. Were you suggesting to Ms. Heard that she shouldn't have a conversation with Mr. Depp about what drugs and alcohol did to him because it could seem like a temptation?
No, I was not suggesting that at all.
What did you mean by it?
Honestly, what I was trying to do is trying to...
Hey, Miss Muddy, take some tea and make some tea. This is an old prison remedy, and it works like a motherfucker. And then you take a little bit of Vicks Vapor Rub, and you stir it around in your tea, and you melt it in your tea. And it works like that vapor shit that you drink, and it like vaporizes your shit. Yeah. It's vapor rub, and you swirl it around and melt it in tea. But not a lot of it. Not a lot of it. It will kill you. But a little bit. Just the tip of the spoon.
Amber, Ms. Heard, she could be very, very vocal. And so what?
And I know nobody likes the prison stuff, but I'm telling you, prisoners are the smartest fucking people you'll ever meet. They can fix and solve anything. With Vicks Vapor Rub, ramen noodles, whatever you need, they got you. Prisoners know what's up. And they know how to get blood out of clothes and not even use peroxide. Use bar soap, toothpaste, and cold water. Gets blood out every time.
I was trying to do was, if they were having a conversation, if it wasn't going well, I was trying to tell her that, maybe, sometimes conversations, if you're vocal, really loud, they're more confrontational. Like just to, whatever it is, just have a nice, easy conversation.
Okay, well, let's just go to I just want to look at one more text on the top of the next page. Heather, please. When you write Ms. Heard on March 22nd, 2013, you say disagreeing, reasoning, nudging, all can seem like confrontations. I'm not sure of the volume or when some is likely to wear off, question mark. First of all, when you were talking about volume or when some is likely to wear off, you're talking about drugs or alcohol, correct?
Oh my God.
She said in the text prior, right?
Your Honor, objection to your saying.
I'm asking what,
That's the problem.
All right.
If anyone you know can turn ramen noodles into like a 5-star tasting meal out of dollar store food and some ramen noodles, that motherfucker has a felony. Just no questions asked, he has a felony for sure.
I understand. I'll sustain the objection.
and I'm asking what you're referring to, without referring to Ms. Heard's text prior, when you say, I'm not sure of the volume or when some is likely to wear off. What are you referring to?
I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say is, she had all kinds of things that she said in the text prior. I'm referring to like volume of, even just voices, that even you can see where I say like, the nudging and all of that. There was a certain way that you learned to try to talk with Amber to keep things calm.
And when you said when,
The witness be allowed to finish.
I thought she was.
All right, finish your.
Cutting her
Mr. Chu, that's fine. Thank you, I appreciate it. I understand, I'll let her finish her answer. That's fine, Mr. Chu. Go ahead.
Thank you. There was a certain way that, ultimately you learned to talk to Amber, to sort of keep things calm. So
No, felony. Not just pork. Poor people don't mix random shit with ramen noodles. They learned that shit from someone with a felony. Gordon Ramsay learned how to make prison food from people with felonies.
you would pacify her. You would sort of, just go along with all of her conversations, whatever, so that we would placate her all the time to keep things calm. That's what we did.
And so when you said disagreeing, reasoning, nudging, all can seem like confrontations, were you telling Ms. Heard that she shouldn't voice any concerns about her significant other's drug or alcohol abuse?
Voice any concerns to who?
To him. That she shouldn't nudge him about it or try to reason with him about drug and alcohol abuse or his behavior? Is that what you were saying, that she shouldn't do that because it might seem like a confrontation?
No, she was more confrontational. She was much more confrontational, always confrontational. And I was trying to say that all of these things can be confrontational and maybe take it down a notch.
Okay, so you shouldn't disagree or reason or nudge. Is that what you were saying?
No, in the way.
I hate this mofo, man. Man. Defense attorneys. I want one to defend me always, but they are so fucking aggravating. I could never be married to a defense lawyer. Couldn't happen.
I know that it would be done. She was much more, she wasn't there wasn't a comforting conversation.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Were you done with your answer?
I think so.
Okay. Or do you believe that disagreeing with someone or trying to reason with them or nudging them justifies them getting abused?
I hate this guy. Why? She really is. She is good.
All right. As a foundation, I'll sustain as the foundation if you want.
Okay. Do you have any, have you ever disagreed with or reasoned with or nudged anyone in anything in your life?
This is a hypothetical.
All right.
I mean, these are the words that she wrote.
I know.
These are the words that she wrote to my client. Disagreeing, reasoning, nudging, all can seem like confrontations.
I'll allow the question.
Thank you.
I'm sorry?
Have you ever disagreed or reasoned or nudged with someone in your life?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that doing any of those three things would justify your being abused?
Your Honor, this is
I'll sustain the question.
Withdraw.
Okay, thank you. All right. How much more do you have? Probably.
A little bit.
A little bit,
Yeah,
okay. Since it's
probably
5
an hour.
o'clock. All right, about an hour, okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, since it's 5 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and release you for the day, okay? Just a reminder, as always, please don't do any outside research. Don't talk to anybody about this case. Don't look at the news. Don't watch anything on TV.
almost
Don't read the
over.
papers, and and just have a good, calm, peaceful night, okay? And we'll see you tomorrow bright and early, okay? Thank you. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. All right, you can have a seat, Mr. Dombrowski. Mr. Dombrowski, I just want to remind you that you're still under oath at this time, okay? All right, you want to continue with your cross-examination? Mr.
Thank you, Your
Rappaport?
Honor. Good morning, Ms. Dombrowski.
Good morning.
So I believe we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but you were, in addition to being Mr. Depp's brother, you were his, I believe you referred to it as his personal manager, is that right?
Sister.
I have
Did
been
you
referred to-
notice they
yes.
called him a
Okay.
brother?
And so you were responsible for, or had some responsibility for his business affairs, right?
I actually coordinated with other people, but I didn't have full responsibility.
Right, but in terms of the information that you would receive, you would receive information that was relevant to Mr. Depp's business affairs and personal affairs, right?
At times, yes.
And you care about Mr. Depp's well-being, right?
Yes.
He's your brother. You
Yes.
love him, right? It was important to you that you, in your role as both his brother and as his manager, be kept informed of his well-being, right?
Yes.
And if something was wrong, you'd want to know about that, right?
Yes.
Did you ever have reason to believe from anyone other than Amber that Mr. Depp had a problem with drugs or alcohol?
No.
Did you ever have reason to believe from someone other than Amber that Mr. Depp romanticized drug culture?
No.
Did you ever have reason to believe from anyone other than Amber.
Just a quick question. Before any of this trial, did anybody think Johnny Depp was on super major drugs? Was he out there like that? Because I don't ever remember him being out there like that. As a matter of fact, I never heard Johnny Depp's name in the news unless he was in a movie or this trial. This is crazy.
That Mr. Depp didn't take accountability for his actions.
I didn't have reason to believe that, no.
Did you ever have reason to believe from anyone other than Amber that Mr. Depp lacked patience for getting his needs met?
I didn't have reason to believe that, no.
Did you ever have reason to believe from someone other than Amber that Mr. Depp could act like a child if he didn't get immediate satisfaction?
Objection, Your Honor, lack of foundation.
I'm asking if she had.
Overruled, I'll allow it, that's fine.
Let me ask that again. Ms. Dombrowski, did you ever have reason to believe from anyone other than Amber that Mr. Depp could act like a child if he didn't get immediate satisfaction?
Hearsay, Your Honor.
Yeah, overruled for this question, we'll see at the follow-up, okay.
I'm sorry?
Did you ever have reason to believe from someone other than Amber that Mr. Depp could act like a child if he didn't get immediate satisfaction?
I never had reason to believe that.
Did you ever have reason to believe from someone other than
Right, I knew he was a drinker, but he wasn't all out there in the news like that doing crazy shit, was he? Like, I don't remember Johnny Depp ever being in the news for salacious things.
Amber that Mr. Depp had fundamental issues with anger?
Your Honor, may we approach?
Okay.
Amber, that your brother had fundamental issues with anger?
I didn't have reason to believe.
And did you ever have reason to believe from someone other than Amber that your brother didn't grasp the responsibility that he had in his children's lives?
I did not have reason to believe that.
Heather, can you pull up Exhibit 268, please? Ms. Dombrowski, is this an email from Dr. David Kipper to you on August 18th, 2014?
Objection, present.
It's not being offered yet, so I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead.
I don't have it.
Can you see the document on your screen?
You might have to make it bigger, it's much smaller.
I don't have anything.
Oh, do you?
I'm
Can you
sorry.
see it there, ma'am?
No.
It's not showing up on her screen.
Just bear with us 1 minute, thank you. No, that's not marked up. Let me, can you see if you can grab one?
Oh, wait, she's got it.
Oh, okay.
Turn it off and on, see?
That's the trick.
That's the judge rule.
Thank you. To take as much time as you need to read it, Ms. Dombrowski, but my question is this an email from Dr. David Kipper to you on August 18th, 2014?
Yes, it's got my name on there, yes, it's from him.
And this is an email that you would have received on or about that date, August 18th, 2014?
Yes. Amber is very good at that whole projection shit. Really good at it.
Lunch?
It was sent on that date, yes.
And it's about Dr. Kipper's treatment of your brother, correct?
I'm actually reading it.
Okay, take your time. Thank you.
We don't know if it was drugs. As a matter of fact, a lot of people think it's the stuff you smell to make you cry, but it did not work for her. But but it's stuff you smell that makes you cry. You wipe it on your nose and it makes you cry.
Sorry.
But we'll see it for sure later. They get a super close up of it.
The,
I was just, this is an email that you received from Dr.
is there, I'm sorry, is there more to the,
There's another page which we can go to, but my question is just this, I think we established this. This is an email that you received from Dr. Kipper, correct?
yes.
Your Honor, permission to publish the second paragraph on page 1 into the, and then the remainder of that paragraph on page 2 with everything redacted, else redacted.
You're asking to enter it into evidence.
Yes, we'd like to enter it into evidence with those redactions.
Your Honor, later. Sure thing. May we approach?
Sure.
I'm helping my brother get, after that,
Who was the page of that email? Ms. Dombrowski, if you can take a look at the first page of that email, please. In the second paragraph, well, first of all, who was Dr. Kipper?
Dr. Kipper was the doctor that was helping my brother, helping my brother get help from the pain medication addiction that he had.
He was helping him with his drug addiction.
The pain medication.
And your brother was addicted to pain pills.
He had been taking them for a long time, yes.
Right. And you were instrumental in hiring Dr. Kipper to help your brother try to deal with that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so Dr. Kipper, in his role as someone treating your brother, tried to keep you informed of what was going on with that treatment, right?
Yes.
And it was important to you as both his brother, his sister, and his manager that you be kept informed of that, right?
It was important as his sister.
And, well, and his issues with drugs were having an impact on his career as well, too, right?
No.
And you knew that they were having an impact on his relationship with Amber, right?
Objection, lack of foundation.
She's given plenty of testimony about.
Overruled, I'll allow it.
You knew that the drugs were having an impact on his relationship with Amber, right?
I knew that Amber claimed certain things.
But you didn't believe that they were?
I didn't necessarily believe it, no.
Okay. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Isn't it true that on the bottom paragraph on page 1 that Dr. Kipper informed you that your brother was uncomfortable and pessimistic that he will ever be able to stop doing drugs?
Objection, no, what you're saying.
I'm not asking for this.
I'll allow this question, but that's the only question on that point. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Isn't it true that Dr. Kipper informed you in August of 2014 that your brother was uncomfortable and is pessimistic that he will ever be able to stop doing drugs?
He does write this in this email, but this email is an update. I believe, if I'm looking at the dates, and I don't remember all dates.
Is that, I think I remember that. Dude, we are in for a whole lot of shit. This is almost over. And then we're going to watch a little bit of the next one. Because the next witness y'all are going to love.
Of that period and what's written in the email. I think this was during the time that they were, where he was getting help from Dr. Kipper.
Right, but that's what he informed you of in your role as his manager and his sister about the status of Mr. Depp's belief that he would be able to stop doing drugs, right?
She
Objection, you're saying.
I'll allow that question.
She drank and did more drugs than Johnny Depp. Do you know how much money he spent on her wine? Just wait.
I think he was informing me of the conversations, yes.
And he also informed you that your brother didn't take accountability for his behaviors, correct?
He does say in here that, yes, he wrote that he has no accountability for his behaviors in this time.
And Heather, if you can go to the top of page 2, please. In that first and second line, he also told you that your brother has fundamental.
I think that's what Amber was trying to do. See, Kentucky people, they seem like they're stupid, but I'm telling you, the Midwest people and the Mid-South people, they are not stupid. People treat them like they're rednecks and shit, but they are way smarter than you. And Johnny and his sister, those hillbillies, they outsmarted that rich girl, Amber.
Fundamentals with anger, right?
Your Honor, objection to hearsay. No exception applies.
All right,
The same exception that applied to the other ones. This is what he informed her.
we need to move on, though. Okay.
Heather, you can take that down. So you just testified, Ms. Dombrowski, that you understood from Amber that drugs and alcohol were.
No, he had to be on drugs. Marilyn Manson is his best friend. But he says he's not on the same drugs as Amber. Like, they're doing ecstasy and shit. He's smoking weed and doing pain pills.
Were in their relationship, but that you didn't necessarily believe that, right?
Right,
And you didn't necessarily share those concerns, right?
right.
Did you have an occasion to speak with Amber after a plane flight from Boston to Los Angeles in May of 2014?
Objection to hearsay.
I just asked if she spoke with her, not asking what the
Just
context.
spoke, I'll overrule the objection at this time.
I don't recall specific time speaking with Amber like that.
Okay. Did you become aware of an incident on a plane flight from Boston to Los Angeles in May of 2014?
Objection, lack of foundation.
Foundation objection? If
She testified that she.
I'll sustain the objection as foundation if you can lay a foundation.
If something happened in your brother's life that was notable, you wanted to know about it. You testified to that.
Objection calls for speculation.
Yes, sir.
It's a.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and chat in the chat if you're in here.
Foundation question. She testified that she had insight into his daily life.
I don't see it as a foundation.
And smoke them if you got them.
So I'll sustain the objection if you want to.
Okay. You were kept apprised of the goings on in Johnny's life, correct?
For the most part, yes.
Yeah, and you testified yesterday you saw him just about every day, correct?
What I testified to yesterday, saw him every day, was when he was with the family of Vanessa.
And you still saw him, or were in touch with him fairly frequently as his business manager and as his sister when he was with Amber, correct?
Less frequent,
Okay, but still with some frequency, right?
yes.
And if an event had happened that was potentially harmful to your brother, you would want to know about that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm the net cutter and I'm 8 blocks away.
And
All right, I'll sustain asked and answered. Next question.
you made an effort to make yourself available to Ms. Heard to talk to you about issues she was having with your brother.
Look at Ben Chu. He's got his finger on that button like it's a trigger. He's ready. Objection, objection, objection. Yeah. That's funny.
Correct.
Excuse me, I made an effort to talk to her anytime I felt she needed to speak.
somebody's trying to call us.
It's kind of a pleasant ringtone.
I didn't answer it, so. I don't know.
Ms. Dombrowski, in addition to just Amber believing it, you believed that your brother needed help, didn't you?
Objection made.
Vague.
You believed that your brother needed help with drugs and alcohol, didn't you?
Overruled objection. Go ahead.
Sorry.
I believed on the one medication I was concerned with.
And you wanted your brother to get better from his addictions, right?
I wanted to address the medication that he was on.
And you understood that Amber wanted the same thing, wanted him to get better for both him and for her, correct?
Objection calls for speculation as to what Amber wanted.
I'll sustain as to what Amber wanted.
Now, do you recall meeting with Ms. Heard on May 25th, 2014?
I don't recall.
Let's pull up Exhibit 234, please.
You said that was 234?
234, yes.
Thank you.
The non-redacted version. Yeah. Ms. Dombrowski, this is a multi-page exhibit that we can, we're not going to ask you about all the pages, but is this a text message chain between Amber and you on May 25th, 2014?
Yes,
And those are your texts in gray on the left, right?
yes,
And Ms. Heard's texts in blue on the right?
yes.
Your Honor, we have a version of this exhibit with Ms. Heard's text redacted and the personal identifiers redacted that I'd like to ask the witness about and publish to the jury. I'm happy.
First, you want to admit into evidence before you publish it to the jury.
Correct,
so
right. So I'm just previewing that. Would you like me to go through the unredacted version with the witness first?
No.
Or,
Well, if it's just her text, how is that probative if it's just her text?
because it's her text about what she, two things. One, it's her text about what she wanted for her brother. We'll get to those on page 2.
She still has the same hearsay power.
I'm allowed to ask her about her own words and what her feelings toward
You
her
can
brother.
ask her about it, but it's not coming into evidence.
Okay, well, okay.
Okay?
Ms. Dombrowski, did you reach out to Ms. Heard on May 25th, 2014,
Yes,
asking her if she wanted to talk?
yes.
Why did you do that?
I
Did you do that because you had been made aware of an issue about your brother's behavior on a flight earlier that day?
I
Or the day
don't,
before?
I don't recall why I did that.
You don't recall why you did that?
No,
You have no awareness or memory of a flight earlier that day or the day before?
I don't recall all flights at all times. I don't have any specific memory of anything.
If you can turn to page 2, Heather. If you can look at your third text down, Your Honor, or Ms. Dombrowski, you say to him, or to Ms. Heard, you say to Ms. Heard, I love him so much, but he needs help, and I don't have all the information to help alone. Do you see that?
Objection, Your Honor, this is all hearsay.
I'll allow that question. That's fine.
I do see that.
And what did you mean when you said he needs help?
I don't recall the actual timing of it, but I wanted to help him with that medication that he was on. That I know. And I know that I wanted to be able to be helpful in life because they were arguing all the time.
And I believe you testified earlier that you didn't actually have concerns about your brother's dependence on drugs, right?
No, I said that I did have about the medication.
Just the pain pills?
It was the pain pills.
Nothing else?
I didn't have concern.
So when you said he needs help, that's what you were referring to, is that you believe that your brother needed help with pills.
Objection, Your Honor, this has been asked and answered.
May I approach, Your Honor?
All right.
Heather, can you please pull up the pages ending in 934? Start with that, please. Actually, let's go to 936.
Just for the record, this is still in Exhibit 234. It's just bait stamp page 936. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ms. Dombrowski, do you see the message that you sent to Amber 3 down where you said he is going to see the doctor in the morning with 3 exclamation points?
Yes.
All right, awesome. We got 25 minutes left, and then we got one more thing to look at.
Tell me what you remember about that. Were you referring, when you said he, you were referring to your brother, right?
Yes.
And by doctor, you meant an addiction doctor, is that right?
I believe I would have meant Dr. Kipper.
Okay. And what was, you'd agree that it's fairly rare to get an appointment for a doctor the next day, right?
Objection, calls for speculation.
I'll allow it, that's fine.
I don't know that it's rare to get an appointment the next day.
Well, Dr. Kipper wasn't an emergency room doctor, right?
No.
So what was so urgent about your brother's need to see a doctor that he was going to see Dr. Kipper the next morning when you texted this at 7:35 p.m.?
I don't know that it was urgent. I think I was happy that he was going to see the doctor.
And you were happy he was going to see the doctor because you thought he'd finally realized the problem that his drug addiction was having on himself and others, correct? That's why you were happy, right?
I was happy he was going to see the doctor because I was concerned about the pain medication he was on.
And you were concerned about what that pain medication did to your brother, right?
Yes.
You were concerned about the effect that that had on his life, right?
I was concerned about him.
And you were concerned about the effect that that drug addiction had on other relationships in his life as well, correct?
Your Honor, ask and answer.
I'm going through,
That's fine, I'll allow it.
you can answer.
I didn't see anything that was happening necessarily in life to be concerned about others, me. It was him I was concerned about.
So you didn't see, your testimony today is that you didn't see any effect that your brother's drug problem was having on anyone else other than him.
My concern was him. I wasn't focused on anything beyond that.
Right, you weren't concerned about the effect that it could be having on anyone else. Is that your testimony?
Again, my concern was him.
Can you pull up page 937, please?
Well, Feather, there's 23 more minutes. Can you hang out? And then, well, just type in the chat all of it, and then I'll read it as we go. Tell us what's up.
And when you misheard the text at the top of the page at 9:20 p.m. on May 25th, 2014, and you said, "I just meant I will help in getting him help," what did that mean?
It's help with Dr. Kipper, I believe.
You were referring to getting your brother help for his drug addictions, correct?
I was referring to getting him help with the medication that he was on.
And if you go to page 938, please. When you told Amber at the bottom of that page at 10:26 p.m., I think you need to tell him you are scared and you can't deal. What did you mean by that? I think you need to tell him you are scared and you can't deal. What did you mean by that?
Objection, your second.
I'm asking her what she meant with one of her statements. It's no different from the statement I just asked her about.
Myers, it's hearsay, so it's a new
I'm just not sure what the prior inconsistent statement would be for this, which was,
Well, that she's testified that all of Amber's concerns were overblown.
okay.
And only your brother. Is that right?
That,
Brother only. Is that right? Drug abuse. You were concerned for your brother and your brother only. Is that right?
I was concerned for my brother, yes.
And only your brother. Is that right?
That, my brother was my focus.
Now, you, as in your capacity as his personal manager, you were often apprised of your brother's performance on movie sets, right?
Objection, your second.
Did you have occasion to communicate with studios, for example, about movies that your brother was shooting?
Yes.
And studio executives could feel free to contact you about your brother's work?
Yes, they mostly contacted the agent.
Okay. And who was the agent at the time? Was that Tracy Jacobs? And that's your brother, Mr. Depp, fired Miss Jacobs in or around 2017. Is that right?
I don't recall when.
How long was Miss Jacobs his agent?
20-something years.
And he fired Ms. Jacobs at some point, right?
Yes.
After his divorce from Amber?
I don't recall exactly when he fired her.
Do you recall whether it was before or after he divorced Amber?
I don't recall. Sorry.
But in any event, you had frequent communications with Ms. Jacobs about your brother's work, correct?
Excuse me. Yeah.
And you, in the course, in your capacity as his manager, it came to your attention that he was late to movie sets, correct?
Objection, lack of foundation, hearsay.
You testified that you had frequent contact with Ms. Jacobs, his agent, right?
Yes.
And that contact included when he was shooting movies?
Yes.
And that contact included communications relating to his conduct on set?
Objection, lack of foundation.
Laying the foundation.
Well, it sounds like your foundation is going to be based on hearsay, which is what we're going to be getting to.
Well,
If you can lay a foundation without it being based on hearsay.
did you have personal knowledge of your brother being late to a set, movie shoots?
Would that be if I was physically there? Is that what you're asking? Or,
Your Honor, no, first, I'd ask you to instruct Mr. Chu not to shake his head, nod his head to the witness. That's inappropriate.
I'm not shaking.
Okay.
Well, he was.
All right, well, I'll keep a lookout for that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Dombrowski, your brother told you himself that he was late to movie shoots, didn't he?
Objection, hearsay.
Party admission.
I'll allow that.
I don't think he came to me and said I'm late to movie shoots, no.
You learned from your brother that he was late to movie shoots, correct?
Objection, asked and answered.
I don't think he would have come to me to talk
I'll
about it,
allow
no.
it.
You learned, so you never had any communications with your brother about issues that he had being on time to movie sets? Is that your testimony?
Why? Why, man? Somebody needs to tell him to move on.
No, what I'm saying is I worked with them for years. You know, there was never really a continuous topic of whether he was late to a movie set, him and I having a conversation.
He told you he had been late to movie sets, correct?
Objection, asked and answered.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Can you pull up
please.
348, please?
348.
Back, I am Saint Nicky Gathergret, and that is Red the Feather. They have good time.
If you can you blow it up so you just see the second email down, Heather? And that second email down is an email from you to Tracy Jacobs on February 27th, 2015, right?
Objection, hearsay.
I'll allow that question. We'll see where we go.
The second, all the way down in here?
The second one down from the top. Sent at 12:50.
Oh, sorry. Yes, that's from me to Tracy.
Okay. Now, in the second sentence of that email, you write, he told me 1 to 1.5 hours, but not 2. Yes, he was 2.5 hours late one day and 7 hours recently. Do you see that?
I do see that.
And when you said he told me, you're referring to your brother, Johnny Depp, admitting to you that he was late to movie sets, right?
I don't know that I'm referring to him now.
Okay. In any event, it was a problem. As personal manager, you knew that it was a problem for the studios if he showed up late to set, right?
I knew that on this particular film, there were times when he was late to set.
You did know on this particular film.
this particular film.
And this particular film is Pirates 5, correct?
Yes,
Pirates of the Caribbean 5? And he was filming that in Australia, right?
yes.
And this email was sent on February 27th.
This right here. Look. All of his life, he's been just fine. But then all of a sudden he gets with Amber Heard and they argue all the time. And then his life gets fucked up. His life was perfectly fine. But then she came in with her bullshit, cut his fucking finger off. He hurt his back and Pirates 5, got back on those pain pills, and then all of this happened. It's crazy.
2015, right?
Yes.
So you knew that as he was filming Pirates of the Caribbean 5 in 2015, early 2015, that he had problems being late to the set, right?
I wouldn't call it problems being late to set, but he was occasionally.
This is Jesus smashing bullshit. This shit indeed is no good.
Late enough that Disney executives called you to discuss that, right?
All right. I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
And you knew that this wasn't the only movie that he had been late to set for, correct?
Actually, my foundation.
She's testified about her close involvement in his personal affairs when he was shooting movies.
If you can lay a foundation, not based on hearsay.
Well, have you talked to your brother when he was filming each of the movies that he filmed, right?
Yes.
Okay. And with respect to Pirates 5, he told you that he had been late to the set, right?
No, I don't recall him telling me he was late to set.
Okay, so despite the fact that you said he told me, you don't recall whether that was him or not.
I don't know I don't know that the he in that refers to him.
Okay. You were also, I believe you testified yesterday that you were closely involved in the financial aspects of your brother's life, right?
I was closely involved in speaking with the representatives, but I wasn't really closely involved in, his financial world. That wasn't my thing.
And your brother's, the income that he made from movies or other commercial opportunities.
Yep. And I have to say, when I first moved back down here to Ohio from Detroit, after I had my brain injury and my brain surgery, and I came back down here, life around me became chaotic because everybody now has to circle around me because I am the universe. And Amber Heard probably thinks she's also the universe. So the world around her is chaotic. And she strives so beautifully, right? At some point, it's going to have to settle down for her. It never settled down for them. It's never settled down for her. And she's going into everybody's life being a tornado like that. Eventually, she's got to realize she's not the universe. You are literally one person's universe, your soulmate. You are your soulmate's universe. That should be the only person you want to be a universe to.
Opportunity had that funded both him and it flowed, or it came in through his companies, right? And then the money that your brother made came in through his companies, correct?
I don't really understand your question.
Well, you're the president of one of those companies, Infinitum Nile, right?
Yes.
So if your brother signs a movie contract, the money, is it paid directly to him or does it come in through a company that he's owns?
Infinitum now is completely a separate entity, so how he gets paid that's the business managers.
Okay. You were involved with discussions of opportunities that he had to shoot movies, correct?
Sometimes, yes.
And you were in close contact with others on Mr. Depp's team about opportunities that arose, right?
Yes.
She has to be around the same age as me. She's got to be like 30 something and he's almost 60. So she's close to my age and he's close to my mom's age.
Yes.
Okay, including
I know he's older than my mom by like a year.
just
Yes.
his agent,
Yes.
including, in fact, you would be in contact with studios directly as well. It's from time to time, right?
Yes.
And Mr. Jacobs, well, strike that. In your capacity as his personal manager, you became aware of financial distress that your brother was in, correct? Because you were familiar with his financial affairs, right?
I was somewhat familiar. That was the other representative's area.
Okay. Did you have occasion to become familiar with whether he was undergoing financial distress such that he needed to get movies, a certain number of movies a year?
Tracy had a certain number of movies per year that she wanted him to do.
And the certain number of movies a year, to your understanding, the certain number of movies a year that your brother had to do was necessary to stave off financial distress, correct?
The certain number of movies per year, Tracy would push for a certain number of movies per year because it was beneficial to her.
That's the only reason she pushed for a certain number of movies a year?
That's the main reason Tracy would push for a certain number of movies per year, yes.
Not because it was beneficial to Mr. Depp?
If it was beneficial to Mr. Depp, then it was going to be beneficial to Tracy.
Okay, but just because it was beneficial to Tracy doesn't mean it wasn't beneficial to Mr. Depp or his companies, correct?
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Now, at some point, you became aware when he was filming Pirates 5 in Australia, you became aware of an injury that he suffered to his finger.
Feather just. Oh, she's the same age as me. Tracy is. Oh, you'll see her in a little bit. Fucking. That's Johnny Depp's first manager. A lady called Tracy. You'll meet her. Her eyebrows are on fleek. She is an amazing looking woman. But I want to tell you, I happen to think I'm entitled to special treatment also. I can't say I'm not like that because I am. I'm just not as gross and abusive as she is. But I definitely think the universe surrounds itself around me, and I'm entitled to special treatment. She's got brown hair, great eye. You'll see, she freaks Elaine out. It's crazy. I'm barely a better woman than Turd, because remember, I'm ghetto. I'm from the streets. I had brain damage before I had brain damage. Only this time I actually do, so I can't get in so much trouble.
Right?
Yes.
And you were involved in trying to cover up how it happened, correct?
Objection and lack of foundation.
I'll allow the question.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
You were involved.
Look at his hand on the trigger. Look at his finger on the trigger. He can never be like Alec Baldwin and be like, I didn't pull the trigger. Because, man, he can't keep his finger off the trigger. That's the mic button, by the way. That's the courtroom trigger.
In helping to cover up how the finger injury happened, right?
I don't understand cover up.
You were involved in making sure that people on Mr. Depp's team didn't say how he hurt his hand, correct?
Objection, lack of foundation.
I'll allow it if she can answer.
You can answer.
We certainly didn't want any press to know about it. So that's, to keep it from that.
And because you didn't want any press to know about his finger injury, you told Mr. Depp's personal assistant to make sure that he wasn't sure how Mr. Depp hurt his hand, correct? You instructed him to say that.
If it was someone that I would be concerned that the word would get out to the press, I would have done that.
So
Yep.
it was okay.
He fired one of her lawyers and called her a bitch. We're going to hear from that lawyer too. We're going to hear from that lawyer too. Johnny called me a bitch and hung up on me and fired me. That was over the prenup shit. But you're going to hear about the trip to Bahamas and how Amber Heard literally tried to kill him to, she argued about the prenup, then he went to the Bahamas to get clean, and she went there and literally tried to kill him. But no one's saying anything.
To you to tell people to lie to protect your brother, right?
It wasn't necessarily a lie. I didn't know how he hurt his finger myself at the time, because I'm pretty sure I know the time frame you're talking about is when it first happened.
And you have no personal knowledge to this day of how he hurt his finger, correct? Because you weren't there.
I wasn't there.
Heather, can you pull up Exhibit 210 redacted, please? Your Honor, this is the exhibit we discussed yesterday. If the court and Mr. Chu agrees with the redactions, I'd just like to publish it to the jury and admit it into evidence.
Well, if it's 210, it's already in evidence. That was the one you gave me this morning, correct? No, that's a different,
Yeah, I think that was 214.
that was 214. I'm sorry, I got it backwards. This is 210.
And I believe that it's just one page? Or it's two pages, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's these 2 pages that we talked about yesterday.
Right. Reserving your objections. Are the redactions correct?
The redactions are correct.
Okay. If he would have stayed first chair, if he would have stayed Amber's attorney, she might have actually won this case. But because Elaine Bredehoff has got a head bigger than her tuchus, Amber Heard lost. But if she would have kept this attorney, as much as I don't like him, she had a good chance of winning. I mean, as much as he's shitty, even though they don't have nothing to go on, he's sticking to his points. Johnny's a drug addict. Johnny's a drug addict. Johnny's mom was abusive. So he's abusive because his mom. He hates Amber because of his mom. If he would have stayed her attorney, Johnny Depp should have been scared.
Okay, that's fine. I will enter 214 into evidence over objections.
Permission to publish, Your
All
Honor?
right, yes, sir.
Thank you. Can you blow that up, please? So, Ms. Dombrowski, we discussed this a little bit yesterday. This is the text exchange between you and Ms. Heard on February 3rd, 2014, where Ms. Heard says JD is on a bender, and your response is, where are the kids, correct?
Yes.
Can you just scroll down, please? Let's go to the next page, please. Scroll down to the bottom, please. And then you text Amber, worry about everything. Is that right?
I wrote the words worry about everything. It was myself. I was speaking about myself.
And you tell her, I don't love any of it, correct?
Right.
And
Okay, sustained. We did go through this yesterday, but go ahead.
and 2 days later is when you sent your brother the text messages that said, stop booze, stop coke, stop pills, correct?
I'm not looking at it. I don't recall the timing of it.
Nothing further. Thank you.
All right, redirect.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Good, good, good. Fix this shit.
Good morning, Ms. Dombrowski.
Good morning.
During Mr. Rottenborn's examination yesterday and again this morning, he spent a lot of time talking to you about your brother's alleged drug and alcohol abuse. Do you remember that?
Yes.
You're not denying that Mr. Depp ever used alcohol or drugs, are you?
Objection leading.
It's redirect, Your Honor.
That's still leading. I'll sustain as leading if you want to rephrase your question.
You also testified several times in response to Mr. Rottenborn's questions that Ms. Heard tends to say things in a more dramatic manner. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
Why did you say that?
I've had my own interaction
Yes.
one-on-one with Ms. Heard, so I know a bit about her personality. She would present information to me that was not necessarily information that was supported
Shut up works. Shut up works. Sure does.
by everybody else that was around. And I've spent a lot of years working with my brother. We have a close team. We've, it's many years of trusted people helping, make sure that everything in life, it works out and goes smoothly. But all those people where I would have a daily contact, whether it's about scheduling or just how the day's going for all the years,
Yep.
those people never said the same thing.
Yep. This should be fun. But it's almost over, and then we're going on to something good.
Objection, hearsay, Your Honor.
I think it was responsive to the question.
Well, I'll sustain the last sentence.
Yeah, but,
Just
Your Honor,
the last sentence of it, that's all.
understood, Your
Okay.
Honor. I think it
As
could-
well.
I think it goes to state of mind rather than the truth.
I just need the last sentence. I'll sustain just the last sentence.
Thank you,
Strike
Your
the
Honor.
last sentence, okay?
And do you recall your testimony yesterday when you stated that after the phenomenal success of Pirates One, one of the changes to Mr. Depp's, your brother's personal life, was that there were a lot more people around him after that? Do you recall
Yes.
that?
Ricky, your ex sucks. Tell him, Feather, his ex is a shit fuck.
When Johnny and Miss Heard became involved in a relationship several years later, were there still a lot of people around them, your brother, on a regular basis?
Yes.
Who were those people?
He had assistants, he had security, he had, property managers, people that helped at the house. He had quite a few people that were around all the time.
How often did you communicate with those people?
I communicated daily, not necessarily with each one of those people, but I communicated pretty much daily with people within the world.
Did any of those people ever raise the same concerns that Ms. Heard did?
Objection, hearsay.
All right.
Again, it goes to state of mind.
I'll sustain the objection as to hearsay. Next question.
I can't wait to see what kind of court battle she tries to put on in heaven. That's going to be fun.
What, if any, concerns were expressed about Johnny's behavior when using alcohol?
Objection, hearsay.
All right.
Again, it goes to state of mind.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all I have.
All right. Is this witness subject to recall?
I do not believe so, Your Honor.
She's subject to recall? No.
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Brusky, you're free to go, or you can stay in the courtroom. It's up to you, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dombrowski.
All right.
All right.
Good morning, ma'am. Isaac Peruch. All right.
Look, are you guys ready or what? Are you ready? We're going to get steak, and it's going to be good.
We'll get him. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah,
While we're waiting for,
she is exactly a shit fuck. So, get your steak because we're about to have steak, eggs, hash browns, biscuits, gravy, and a bowl of cereal just for fucking fun. This is great.
repeat all his last name for the court reporter for me.
Baruch.
Thank you.
In this case, I'm penalty of law.
I said, yeah.
Hey, there's a thing here, transcript thing.
You can just keep it there, sir. Have a seat.
Okay.
Put the microphone close to you, please. Thank you.
Hey, there's a thing here. There's a thing. It's like a transcript thing. What do you want me to do with it, huh? We got it in the trunk. Just it's all right. This paper is transcript.
Good morning.
Oh, and he talks Yiddish. He says, it's a hakayam. That means it sucks a dick. Something like that.
Morning.
Morning.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
My name's Isaac Baruch, ISAAC BARUCH.
Mr. Baruch, where do you currently live?
He has cereal after breakfast for dinner. Oh, God.
I live in Los Angeles.
Do you know the plaintiff in this case, Johnny Depp?
Yes.
How do you know Mr. Depp?
I know him since teenagers. We met in Florida.
And could you tell the jury a little bit about your experience meeting Mr. Depp when you were teenagers in Florida?
Yeah, we were both playing in bands. We had mutual friends, and that we met in probably 1980. And yeah, we hit it off. We got along with each other. And yeah.
How often did you see Mr. Depp when you were teenagers together in Florida?
A few times a month. I'd say it could be more, a little more or whatever, because, you know, we'd see each other at parties and clubs, nightclubs where the bands played. Yeah, like that.
And for
Yeah, it's just like that. We saw each other at parties. Yeah, you know, it was Florida.
how were you both living in Florida?
I love this guy's voice. I can't help it, but I love it. He's so New York.
Each other somewhat regularly.
Well, we met in like 1980, so and then we both moved away. He moved to California. I moved to New York. What was that? From 80 to 83. What's that? Like 4 years?
What were your impressions of Mr. Depp while you were both living in Florida at the same time?
Oh, he's a sweet kid. A sweet guy.
Sir, wait, there's an objection.
Oh.
Thank you.
What his impressions were back then?
Or what's the
Hey, he was a sweet guy. He's a good guy. Oh, I love this man. I am so sorry, but I love this man. He's a good guy.
relevance?
Just establishing the background in the relationship, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question, please.
Mr. Baruch, did there come a time when Mr. Depp moved away from Florida?
Yeah.
And where did he move to, if you know?
Like I said before, he moved to California.
At some point in time, did you also move to California?
Yeah.
And did you reconnect with Mr. Depp when you got there?
Yeah.
Around what time was that?
Sometime during the first year, and then afterwards, after the first year, more and stuff. Yeah.
About what year would you say that was?
Oh, I moved to California in September of '85.
And did you know if Mr. Depp was working when you arrived in California in 1985?
Well, I knew he was pursuing acting at that time. Yeah, he's looking for work because he's pursuing acting.
How often did you see Mr. Depp when you first moved to California?
Well, like I said, the first year, a few
Hey, what's it to ya? We got him in the trunk. What's it to ya? It's Fugazi.
times. Afterwards, I had a friend whose girlfriend lived in the same building as Johnny, and so then hanging out over there, I ended up seeing Johnny more often. And plus, my friend, who I'm talking about, whose girlfriend lived in the same building, he was playing in a band, and they needed another guitar player, and Johnny ended up joining the band, so we were hanging out a lot more often.
What were you doing when you moved out to California?
I was pursuing music also, working retail jobs and trying to get a band, make a band, you know?
Did there come a time when you began working for Mr. Depp?
Oh, yeah.
When was that?
Oh, that's later on. That's like in 1993.
What were you doing for Mr. Depp when you started working for him in 1993?
Well, he owned a place called Room, and which is a music venue, nightclub, bar, and bands play. And it was already open for 6 months. And the girl who was working, the person who was working as office manager didn't want to work there anymore. So the guy who was running the place for Johnny, who was a friend named Sal Jenko, another Florida friend from back in 1980 when we all first meet, he calls me up and he says, "Hey, Isaac, do you want to work this job?"
I don't think it's offered for the truth of the
Well,
matter.
either. I mean, can we
That's
get-
fine. I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead.
At some point in time, did you stop working at the Viper Room for Mr. Depp?
Oh, yeah.
When was that?
Well, I worked from 93 to 98. In 98, I moved away.
Did you return to LA again at some point?
Yes, I did.
When was that?
I moved back December of 2002.
What did you do for work when you were in LA?
Well, for 2 weeks, I worked at an art gallery, and then I went back to the Viper Room on New Year's Eve.
How long were you working at the Viper Room at that point in time?
It was another year, and then the place changed hands.
Were you working on anything else while you were working at the Viper Room in that time frame?
Yeah, I was sidewise. I was teaching myself art.
And what steps were you taking to teach yourself art at that time?
Books, learning how to draw and paint, and
Johnny Depp hangs out. Johnny Depp hangs out with quality people. It doesn't even have to be higher quality because the people Amber Heard knows have no quality. Johnny hangs out with real people.
taking community college classes.
At some point in time, did you begin pursuing art on a full-time scale?
I
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
smoke
yeah.
some
How did that come
weed.
about?
Well, I was working at the Viper Room, taking classes, and then at one point, the club changed hands completely after a year, 2004. And I was given a choice of either keep working for these new owners, or Johnny, out of his pocket, was going to give a severance pay to whoever didn't want to work there anymore. So I took the severance pay, and then it helped me continue on to finish community classes, private classes, and then be able to transfer to Cal State University.
And did you get a degree from Cal State University?
Yes, I did.
What degree was that?
BFA,
What year?
2010.
After you received your BFA, did you continue to pursue art full-time?
Yeah.
Did Mr. Depp ever express
You
an
got a
interest in your art?
bachelor in fine
Yeah.
arts.
When was the first time that happened?
Well, first time he saw a painting in 2008, and then the next time was 2012. I had made a painting and sent it to my best friend, in an email, and he forwarded it to Johnny, and Johnny emailed back saying, "Hey, when Isaac wants to sell that, whenever he wants to sell that, to go ahead and get in touch with me because I want to buy it."
Did Mr. Depp ever buy that painting?
No.
Why not?
Because when I brought over paintings, I had moved back to California, and I brought over a bunch of paintings for him to look at and see if he wants any, to buy any. And he looked at me and says, "I got an idea. How about I be your patron, and we put together an art show, make a body of work, and then I'll throw a party and invite people, and I'll sell the stuff for you, and you could keep all the money." So he didn't buy any paintings there. Instead, he offered me a complete patronship.
So what did you understand he meant by becoming your patron?
Well, he was going to financially make it possible for me to just paint every day and put together a body of work,
Exactly.
so that way then it could be sold.
How did he plan to do that?
Objection to what he planned on doing.
What did you understand he planned to do
Well,
to make that possible for you?
I could tell you that what it included was that the next day I ended up moving into I moved into a art studio penthouse at the Eastern Columbia building. It was, "Listen, I got a place for you to go ahead and live and work and put this body of art together, and I'll take care of you. You don't have to worry about anything."
And what was the place where you were going to live that Mr. Depp offered you?
The Eastern Columbia building.
Did you take him up on that offer to live at the Eastern Columbia building?
Yeah, of course.
And how did that make you feel?
I started crying. one day you're in your mother's garage selling paintings for $100, $200, $300 on eBay. Next thing you know, it's an art show, and like you don't have to worry about diddly squat. Of course. I was flipping out.
When did you move into the Eastern Columbia building?
The next day after we met and we talked. The next day, I get a phone call from a guy named Kevin Murphy who is working for Johnny, and and he says, "Hey, meet me at this address." And I go and I meet him, and here I am in front of this building. This is a beautiful building. This is like, it's whatever, 13 floors, but it's like from the 1930s, some Art Deco, beautiful building. And I'm looking, I'll go, all right, this is unreal. What, there's gonna be, all right, it's gonna be one of these apartments or whatever, one of these places here. I go in with Kevin Murphy. He takes me all the way up to the roof. We go into penthouse 2, and I walk in and I'm like crying, going, it's beautiful. This is like a mansion situation to me.
Mr. Burch, how long did you end up living at the Eastern Columbia building?
3 years and 7 months.
Your Honor, I'd like to show the witness plaintiff's exhibit 116.
All right, 116.
Am I looking at something?
You will in a second, sir. No, that's fine. Yeah, but he can't. We will resolve it at lunchtime, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Burch, do you recognize the document that you're looking at that's been marked as plaintiff's exhibit 116?
Yeah.
What is it?
This is the floor plan of the roof, all the penthouses up on the roof at the Eastern Columbia.
And that's the building where you lived starting in March 2013, is that right?
I moved in the first week of March 2013, yeah.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move into evidence, plaintiff's exhibit 116, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, 116 in evidence, you can publish to the jury.
Who you talking to? Who you looking at? You talking to me? Dude, I would fucking shit my pants if this dude came up to me and said, "You talking to me?" I would, ugh. Man, I would shit your pants. Oh, forget about it. I'd be like, I am not the guy in the trunk.
Is it, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I just want to be sure that.
Yeah, they can see it in the gallery, see it, we'll just have to work on
All
that
right,
screen.
great, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Burch, can you describe for the jury what is depicted here in exhibit 116?
Yeah, so the right side of this graph is there's a pool there. There's another top of another apartment that actually starts on the floor below. It's a 2-story apartment, but there's a pool there, and there's a gym workout room. And the left side, there's at the bottom, there's an X, and that's the elevator. And so you walk out of the elevator, you make a little left, and there's part of penthouse 5 right there, straight ahead. And then you keep walking straight, and then you make a left, a sharp left, and the actual penthouse 5 straight ahead. And then you hang a right, and you start walking up that way. On your right is going to be penthouse 1. On your left is going to be penthouse 4. When you get to the end of that corridor is the door for penthouse 3. And if you hang a right, oh look, there it is. It came up on the screen.
I'm goofy, but it's dead true though. With somebody with his accent, if they said something to you, like, "What you looking at? What are you looking at?" Or, "Was you talking to me?" Are you telling me you wouldn't be scared? I'd be scared as shit. Forget about it.
And if you hang a right and you go down to the end, is the door to penthouse 2. That's the apartment that I lived in.
And who did you understand owned the penthouses?
Oh, Johnny owned them all.
Which one did you live in?
Penthouse 2.
Was anyone else living in the penthouses at the time that you moved in March 2013?
No, I was the first one to move in. I moved in the first week of March, and then a couple of weeks later, 2-3 weeks later, then Johnny and Amber moved in, and then after that, the next one to move in is Rocky, Raquel Pennington, Amber's friend, and then at some point her sister moved in, Whitney, and also at some point Rocky's boyfriend moved in with her in penthouse 1.
So I believe you just testified that Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard moved in shortly after you moved in, is that right?
Yes.
And which penthouse did they move into?
Penthouse 3.
And then you testified, I believe, that someone named Rocky Pennington moved in?
Yes.
Who was Rocky Pennington?
Amber Heard's friend from Texas, and I think they made them, I don't know, I'm not sure if they told me that they moved out there together or something like that, but, yeah, her friend.
And later you said that her boyfriend moved in with her. What was his name?
Josh Drew,
And which unit did they live in?
penthouse 1.
And
Good morning, ma'am.
Son of a
Isaac
bitch.
Karuch. All right.
This is all windows. Sunlight's coming through. We walked out, I noticed on the floor, there's shards of glass, there's pieces of glass. Well, from the first get-go, when I said, hey, look, I need dough, to buy stuff and to, do this.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll just use a paper copy. We'll get this resolved at lunchtime. Okay.
thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Baruch, do you recognize the document that you're looking at that's been marked as plaintiff's exhibit?
No, I also said I shit your pants. And yes, I would. If he said something to me, oh my God, I would definitely soil your clothes for sure. But, Feather, I wanted to tell you. What am I, like Rita Rudna funny? What kind of funny am I to you? Am I some kind of clown? I don't know. I think you're laughing at me. Are you laughing at me? Am I funny to you?
Scene?
Yeah.
What is it?
This is the floor plan of the roof, all the penthouses up on the roof at the Eastern Columbia.
And that's the building where you lived starting in March 2013, is that right?
I moved in the first week of March 2013, yeah.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move into evidence, plaintiff's exhibit 116, please.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. 116 evidence. You can publish to the jury.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I just want to be sure that.
Yeah, they can see it in the gallery. See it. We'll just have to work on that.
That's great. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Baruch, can you describe for the jury what is depicted here in Exhibit 116?
Yeah, so the right side of this graph is there's a pool there. There's another top of another apartment that actually starts on the floor below. It's a 2-story apartment, but there's a pool there, and there's a gym, workout room, and the left side there's at the bottom there's an X, and that's the elevator. And so you walk out of the elevator, you make a little left, and there's part of penthouse 5 right there, straight ahead. And then you keep walking straight, and then you make a left, a sharp left, and the actual penthouse 5 is straight ahead. And then you hang a right, and you start walking up that way. On your right is going to be penthouse 1. On your left is going to be penthouse 4. When you get to the end of that corridor is the door for penthouse 3. And if you hang a right.
Oh, if Ricky ends up on the news, I'm telling everybody that's my cousin. I am. I'm going to tell everybody, that's my cousin. We had a good time.
Oh, look, there it is. It came up on the screen. And if you hang a right, and you go down to the end is the daughter, penthouse 2. That's the apartment that I lived in.
And who did you understand owned these penthouses?
Oh, Johnny owned them all.
Which one did you live in?
Penthouse 2.
Was anyone else living in the penthouses at the time that you moved in March 2013?
No, I was the first one to move in. I moved in the first week of March, and a couple of weeks later, 2-3 weeks later, then Johnny and Amber moved in, and then after that, the next one to move in is Rocky, Raquel Pennington, Amber's friend, and then at some point her sister moved in, Whitney, and also at some point Rocky's boyfriend moved in with her in penthouse 1.
So I believe you just testified that Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard moved in shortly after you moved in, is that right?
Yes.
And which penthouse did they move into?
Penthouse 3.
And then you testified, I believe, that someone named Rocky Pennington moved in?
Yes.
Who was Rocky Pennington?
Amber Heard's friend from Texas, and I think they made them, I don't know, I'm not sure if they told me that they moved out there together or something like that, but yeah, her friend.
And later you said that her boyfriend moved in with her. What was his name?
Josh Drew,
And which unit did they live in?
penthouse 1.
And I believe you also testified that Whitney moved in. Who was Whitney?
Whitney Heard. She's married, so she's got a different last name. I'm not sure what it is. But Amber's sister, Whitney.
And which of the units did Ms. Heard's
Oh.
sister live in?
4.
I think I remember hearing about that, Michael. Although I might have been in prison, so it might have been through a letter. But I think I might have heard something about that.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about your relationships with Ms. Heard, Ms. Pennington, Mr. Drew, and Ms. Heard's sister?
Oh, yeah, I was friends with all of them. I loved them all. They all treated me with respect. It was great. You know, I'm an old-time friend of Johnny's, living there, and we were looking out for each other. We became great friends. I fell in love with all of them.
When you moved in to Penthouse 2, you were working on an art show with Mr. Depp, right?
I was only arrested for that one time. I haven't been caught since then.
Yeah, that's the entire reason that I'm there, is to work and put together this art show.
Did you have a time frame that you expected to be able to put on that art show?
At first, when we first powwowed this idea, when, you know, we talked about, all right, what do we do? You know, what's this show going to be? How many paintings is it going to be? And we came up with a number. Okay, so there's going to be a certain body of work. I'm not a known person. I'm just some schnuck painter. If I was a famous painter, I could make 5 paintings and the room will fill up. But so we decided, okay, like 25 pieces of work, large scale. And Johnny says, hey, how long do you think this will take? I said, I've never done it before. I don't know, maybe a few months.
And were you able to complete the paintings in a few months?
No.
I'll be right back. I'm going to grab coffee.
It took me in order to make 2 large scale paintings, it took me like almost 2 months. And I'm start freaking out, going, I'm only got 2 paintings, and all right, I got to do 25. I said a few months. So I ended up going to Johnny's place and saying, hey, look, dude, this is going to take a lot longer than a few months. I could only make 2 paintings.
And how did Mr. Depp react?
He looks at me and he starts laughing and he says, Ike, don't worry. I do not care. I just want you to paint however long it takes. I want you to paint every day.
During the course of time that you were living at the Eastern Columbia building, did Mr. Depp ever give you any money?
Yeah.
How much did he give you?
Over a period of 4 years of the patronship, I ballpark it calculated probably around 100,000.
And how did you come up with that amount?
Well, from the first get-go, when I said, hey, look, I need dough, you know, to buy stuff and to, you know, do this, I ended up getting an envelope the next day with $5,000 in it. And then I budgeted it and stretched it out, and, you know, and so every few months I get an envelope. It could have that I didn't know if it was going to be the same amount, but it ended up being the same amount, which was, wow. So basically around $5,000 every few months. So in a year, it's 20 grand. But then also, there was a period, maybe a year or two, might have been that it was 5 times I had to ask for dough, or it was 4. And then on top of it, so right there, could be 80 grand or 90 grand. And on top of that, I ended up getting a herniated disc. He sent me to the doctors to get an MRI and see the doctor, get an MRI, and there was 10 weeks of therapy.
My mega pint, my Johnny Depp mega pint is dirty. It's in the sink. But I do have a mega pint, and I do put coffee in it. It puts a half a pot of coffee is a cup, and I drink that in probably an hour and a half. Oh, I endorse every word everybody says because, well, if somebody's going down for it, it should be me because I love jail.
That he covered, so I throw that in there too, and I ended up coming up with the figure of 100 grand. Could be a little less, could be a little more.
What was your understanding of whether Mr. Depp intended to be paid back for the money that he provided to you?
There's no, that's not even the thought of being paid back. This is something that he wanted to see happen. This is something he invested in he.
Make sure you vlog it. If you do that, video where it didn't happen.
He was going to spend money to make it happen for me to survive and paint and create this thing that he wanted to see because he liked the art. And so there was no payback, and the whole thing was about him selling the art, so that way I keep all the money. He didn't expect anything. He was doing this as a friend, as he's done with many other friends.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay, and move to strike.
All right, I'll sustain the last sentence of his
And if
statement.
you could explain to the jury. The
Right, we've done that, but that's fine, thank you.
Mr. Baruch, did there come a time when you decided that you planned to pay Mr. Depp back?
Oh yeah, that for me, when he's told me he had a money situation going on. For me, it was like this guy just changed. He's been making it possible for me to live and work and make product, and I'm by that expense, I'm part of the problem. It's like, how do I help him? How can I help him? I mean, he's sharing his sandwich
Florida
with me,
man would
you know?
win.
It's like, how do I share
money's
that my
not
half,
Florida
my
man.
sandwich with him? Give him that half to make something up. You don't not do anything, and so the only thing I got is paintings. So I stood up when he's telling me what he's telling me about his money situation, and for me, I said, hey, if these things ever sell, we got to split this 50-50, and I ain't taking no for an answer. Something I got to put something into this. So for me, I looked at it like he has to get something back.
Mr. Baruch, during your time living at the Eastern Columbia building, did you develop a relationship with the defendant in this case, Ms. Heard?
Yeah.
And did you get along with Ms. Heard?
I loved her. I fell in love with her just like Johnny fell in love with her. I fell in love with her. She's totally respectful, gracious to me, that she's got great teeth, that she treated me with complete respect. Anytime I walk into the humor-wise, total locker room humor, demented humor, totally laughed at, the jokes, made the jokes, totally got along with her. Every time I walked into their place, Isaac, you want something to eat? Isaac, you want something to drink? Every time. There's only one time I remember that she didn't offer because I walked in and she's in the kitchen at the counter and she's doing a beauty facial mask, and so she can't offer me. And I'm going, hey, is that something that can help me? And she looked at me and she goes, no. And I'm laughing, and then she laughed after because she didn't realize she was making a joke. So, yeah, I loved her.
Mr. Baruch, did Ms. Heard ever visit you in your penthouse?
Yeah.
Do you recall the first time that she visited you there?
Yes.
When was that?
The first time is that it's in March when they moved in, and they were there for a couple of days, and I didn't even.
Johnny Depp's first wife, Vanessa, what's her ass? She does not have good teeth. So I'm not sure if this is a knock on Vanessa or not, but she remember she has the gap in her teeth. So I don't know, but he pointed it out.
Even. And Johnny had called me, says, "Hey, come over, meet my girl," and so I did. And then the next day, they came over to my place for the first time to see how I had set up the art studio, lights, and just what's my painting set up and stuff, and to look at other paintings. And they walked in, and I remember the first thing she said was, "I hope we didn't keep you up last night because of all the yelling." And I looked at her and I says, "No, these walls are like 3 feet thick. I don't hear diddly squat."
How did she seem when she said that to you?
Well, she's semi-joking and inquisitive, like they did, to find out.
In your 3.5 years living at the Eastern Columbia building, did you have opportunities to observe Mr. Depp's and Ms. Heard's relationship?
Yeah.
Can you describe what you observed about their relationship?
They were always loving with each other. They treated each other like gold, kissing and
His first wife is a chick called Vanessa. She's kind of all right looking, but she's got a gap in her teeth.
type of thing, just being kind with each other. Always loving. Always a loving situation.
How often would you say you interacted with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard?
If they were there, because they're traveling, they're doing their work.
I can't say nothing about fake teeth. I have fake teeth. Probably not for the same reason she has fake teeth, but I have fake teeth also.
And doing stuff. If they were there, I saw them maybe 2, 3 times a week. Maybe there might be one time a week that I see them, that I go over to hang out or see them, or they might come, or Johnny might come over to visit, or like that.
Since you've known them, did you ever see them get physically violent with each other?
Never.
But you know what? We'll see what Amber Heard looks like without all that shit all over her face. Because her sister Whitney is going to testify. So we'll see how ugly Amber Heard is in real life.
Ever see them argue?
Yes.
How many times?
Probably like twice.
Okay. Can you describe the arguments that you witnessed?
The first argument that I remember was
No, I was saying I can't be down on people with fake teeth because I have fake teeth. So I can't talk too much shit because, my teeth probably look the same way. But you can talk shit all you want to because you don't have them. Just remember, I might possibly have feel bad, so always use her name.
walking in. It was a telephone argument. Johnny's at the kitchen table.
No, these aren't Amber's witnesses. These are Johnny's witnesses. Amber, you'll know her witnesses because they're all foolish. These are Johnny's witnesses. Notice how it's put together all right. That's Johnny Depp, his lawyers.
And he's arguing.
And also their witnesses right now.
He's screaming about something, and on the other line, because it's on speaker, and he's talking with the phone at the phone. The other person is Amber, and that she's in New York, and he's at the kitchen table.
That's exactly what I said. Her teeth are probably not fake for the same reason mine are. My teeth are probably the fakest thing on me. her teeth are probably the realest thing on her because part of them might be porcelain, you know.
And they're arguing. And he's going, who is it? Who is it? And she's saying, oh, baby, come on, please don't. What are you doing, baby? Why are you being like this, baby? And this went on for a little while, and I'm listening, and then he hangs up. She calls.
Oh, like foreshadowing. Oh, yeah. Just wait till you hear about the Bahamas, Feather. You're going to think the same thing I thought. She was trying to kill him. Just wait. We'll get to the Bahamas. I would love to hear what you think about that. We're not there yet, but we will be.
Again, and it's the same thing. Who is it? What's going on? Who is it? And she's saying, oh, come on, baby, don't be. What are you doing, baby?
Yeah, future. Yeah.
And then hang up the phone again. The third time it happens, I'm saying there's no solution in this conversation. I grabbed the phone from him and I says, hey, Amber, this is Isaac. Listen, this conversation is now over. And I hung up the phone. And she didn't call back again, and he went to the couch and went to bed.
I believe you said you saw them argue twice. Was there another time that you saw them argue?
I ended up going over, and there's at the kitchen table is Johnny, is Amber, is Rocky, and Josh. And and I'm going, what are you guys doing? And they're hanging out, and they're trying to plot to figure out a way how to get rid of Whitney to not live there anymore. And I felt bad. I like Whitney. Says, oh, well, that's going to be a drag. And, what are you plotting? How do you figure out? Hey, lend your sister some dough and let her move out. But, they're trying to figure something out, something differently or whatever. At one point, there was a point, Johnny got completely, flustered and frustrated, and he got up and he walks away. And as he's walking away, he says, figure it out. And that was it. That was the whole thing. I don't know if you want to call it, I don't think you might call that an argument, but.
Your Honor, I'm about to switch gears a little bit. It might be a good time for a mid-morning break.
Perfect, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and have you take your morning recess for 15 minutes, okay? Just remember to not talk to anybody and do not do any outside recess, okay? And we'll see you back.
Yes. 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 Feather, just wait. I'm telling you. You're doing all this foreshadowing shit talking. Save your big guns. Save your big guns because
Thank you for back.
Yes.
Were you still living in Penthouse 2 of the Eastern Columbia building on May 21st, 2016?
Yes.
Do you recall what you were doing that evening?
Yes.
she's still hiding from that one thing that she did when she beat up her girlfriend at the hotel or whatever. She's hiding from that shit.
I was out, it was evening time, I'm out in the neighborhood, and I'm on my way home. I get a phone call from my friend who wants to know if I want to go out and eat. I said I just ate, but I'm 5 minutes away from the Eastern Columbia building, home, and go across the street, get something to eat, and bring it up for takeout, and we'll go upstairs to my joint, and we'll eat and yap.
Did you meet your friend back at the Eastern Columbia building?
Yeah,
Around what time was that?
9:30.
What happened after you met your friend?
We went upstairs.
Can we pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 116 again, please? Your Honor, given that this has already been admitted, I ask that it be published.
All right, that's fine. You can publish it. You just can't see it. Okay, you still have it.
Mr. Burge, is it on the screen in front of you?
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
Mr. Burge, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about what happened after you went upstairs that evening. And it may be helpful for you, there are controls on that screen that you can use to sort of mark the exhibit to show the jury the spots that you're talking about and identifying.
So if you just touch it, it'll make a mark, so you don't have to touch the top. That's fine.
Do I touch something on menu here?
Nope, you don't. Nope, just wait, and you can touch it whenever she needs you to mark it.
Just wherever I touch it, it's going to make a mark?
It will.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Burge, when you got upstairs that evening with your friend around 9:30,
Yeah.
what did you see?
We got out of the elevator and, you know, just like in the graph, you make a left and then you turn the corner. When we walked out, I noticed on the floor, there's shards of glass, there's pieces of glass. And so, you know, I was just looking, going, oh, something busted. Could be one of the sconces or something like that. And kept walking.
Can you mark on the exhibit where you saw the broken glass that evening?
Yeah. Right
She's
there.
also in
right
trouble
where you
for
could go
that.
left or you could go right. And if you wanted to go to the pool area, there's an exit that way. So you could either go right or you go left. You go left, you're in the apartments, going in the hallway through the apartments, or you go right there in that spot.
And did you continue on to your penthouse after you saw the broken glass?
Oh, yeah, so we walk around, and then we make the turn, we hang the right past penthouse 5, and we stop right in front of, right here.
And why did you stop right there?
Oh, stopped in front of here, penthouse 1, which is it's more, right there, because there's this puddle of wine, huge puddle of wine on the floor that's in front of the door, and there's wine, the splashed wine that's dripping down the wall. And so we stopped, and I'm looking at it and going, look at this. Someone must have got hammered. These guys probably had a party. And at that point, right then, as soon as I said that, the door opens up, and it's Josh Drew, who pokes his head out the door, only enough for his head to come out, and he's pretty bug-eyed and looks distraught. And I look at him and I go, what's up with the spilt wine? And I'm figuring I'd get an explanation or whatever. And he looked at me and just said, rough day, had a rough day. And at that point, I got concerned and said to him, because I'm friends with him, you know.
She has both allegedly. More histrionic, though. Listen, Ricky, we don't find out about that stuff yet. It's like a day or two away, and we hear all about her histrionics. And I don't know how she learned to poop on the bed, or even how long that took and who helped her stand up like that, or did she lay down? Something happened.
I got concerned. I said, hey, you okay? You want me to help you with something? Do you need help? He said, no, it's okay. We got it. And I said, okay. And me and my buddy took off and went into my place.
And what did you do after that?
My buddy ate. I believe he had pizza from across the street. And we talked. We yapped for a while. And, you know, I could yap. So it could take, we were there probably an hour and change or something like that. And
They Netflix and chilled. He could have just said that. But this is a classy man lover. I love gay people that have class. Like, I love that shit. That is a classy gay man.
then he, was done. So I walked him out and walked down, went to the elevator, walked out, went to the elevator.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to hear they have histrionics or BPD.
We went downstairs.
I have PTSD with mania symptoms. I'm hypermania. I'm hypermanic.
Walked out the door, finished the conversation that we were having, and I said, all right, see ya. And then I went back in, I went upstairs, and I went to bed.
Oh, as far as I can tell, he only talks about going to his apartment with a man. He's like, my buddy. He never says my friend, like a girlfriend. And his art, have you ever seen his art? Look it up. Isaac Baruch, his art. And he has a fine arts degree. Oh, your mom should believe in mental disorders because let her come across a hypermanic with no, or a hypermanic with psychopathic tendencies. That's not me, but there are some like that, and those mental disorders are scary.
Around what time was that you went back into the Eastern Columbia building?
You know, some
Isaac Baruch, uh, you can, he's very left wing, so his pictures of Trump are kind of fucked up, but but he does good art.
something is if we got there at like around 9:30 and where
It wouldn't be top dollar art if Johnny Depp didn't pay for it, but because, Johnny Depp, they're high price paintings now.
walking, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours, somewhere around 11 o'clock, I would think.
We can go ahead and take Exhibit 116 down.
Speaking of, Ricky, I want to do something about, or I want to watch the crime about Billy and them. I want to see what happened. Can you find out what that was called? And we'll watch it. Because I don't think it had anything to do with kids. As a matter of fact, I'm sure it didn't have anything to do with kids. Not the Billy thing. Maybe I should read. She has. Oh, yeah, no. That kind of thing, you got to come to your own agreement. I do my own psych pills now because I'm really afraid of someone else putting me on psych pills and zombifying me so their life is better. I don't like that. So I deal with my own psychology pills. He can talk to my neurologist all he wants to, but he's not talking to my psychotherapist. The chick that gives me medicine, they're not drugging me. I get afraid of that. I've hung out with them in West Virginia also, but they're in prison now. I want to see what for. Can you find out what it's called? Now we got to get through this so we can watch the funny part. And then when he's done, I'm going to be done.
Mr. Baruch, can you describe for the jury the events of the next day, May 22nd, 2016?
Yes. It's my birthday. May 22nd is my birthday. I wake up, I end up texting Johnny and saying, hey, I'm going to be in town, because he's not staying at the Eastern Columbia building. He's staying in a house in town, okay? And so I texted him, it's my birthday. I said, listen, I'm going to be in town. I'm going to come by and to have a birthday drink. Okay. I didn't hear from him, I didn't get an answer back, but I said, that's what I'm doing. If that happens, that happens. But, so it was around noon time, so I left. I walked out of my apartment, and I go through the hallway, as you see the graph. I go through the hallway, and I turn the corner from Penthouse Street, and as I'm walking down, who do I see? I see a group of people. It's a guy in black clothes, a black shirt, black pants, Amber Heard, and I see Josh Drew, who's leaning up against the door, and the door is open. This door is open. Something's going on, and as I'm walking up, I'm saying, hey, what's up? What are you guys doing? And then Amber turns to me as I'm walking up. Amber turns to me and says,
what are we changing? Oh, charges. Never mind. Yeah, the list of charges. But what's the crime called? Maybe we can find a documentary on it.
Johnny came by last night. He got violent. So I'm changing the locks on 1, 3, and 5. And I'm looking at her, and she goes, "Oh, don't worry about 2. You're okay." And at this point, I'm now walking past. So now we're all in front of the open door of the apartment, and I see there's 2 guys, 2 locksmiths working on the door. So now I'm standing on one side, and you have Josh Drew on one side of the door. You got the 2 locksmiths with the door open, working on it. The sun's coming through the door, sunlight from windows, and then Amber is in front of me, and there's the security guy, and that we're 2 feet away from each other, talking. And she introduces me as she's finishing saying, "Oh, don't worry about your apartment." She says, "Oh, and this is a security guard that I got who's going to be hanging around." And I got introduced. She introduced me to him, and I shook his hand. He gave me a card, which I lost, and I'm.
Yeah, we have, well, our family is originally from West Virginia, and we have family there in West Virginia, but we have some idiot ass cousins that robbed a grocery, well, like a liquor store thing, like a 7-Eleven type thing. They went in there to rob them, and my cousin Billy was the driver. And then Jim Bob and Dumbass went in there, robbed the place, and then forcibly sexy timed the girl a whole lot. And then she deleted herself from God's YouTube, and they're in prison. I wanted to know what it was called. Maybe there was some kind of news story or documentary on it, so I could see what actually happened.
Kind of taking this in and going, and I said, "Wait, what happened? What's going on?" And at that point, Josh Drew looks at me and gives me the high sign to, like, "Hey, follow me. I'll tell you in private." And
Mr. Rich, when you were speaking with Ms. Hurd, how close were you standing to her?
like I said, I'm 2 feet, it's a foot and a
And also, Ricky, if we can find out what their names are or whatever, maybe we can even watch the trial and talk shit the whole time or something, watch the trial. Because I want to know what happened, because Billy used to be my only friend. Like, as a child, Billy was the only other kid. Because my brothers, CJ wasn't born and Alan was just born. So I only ever knew Billy. And now he's in prison. I would like to see the court.
2 feet away. We're all 2 feet.
And how was the lighting in that area?
There's light.
Like, I don't give a fuck about Jim Bob and the other douchebag. I don't care, but Billy is my family. That's the one I know.
It's in the doorway, but we're standing in an open doorway that the wall is all windows. Sunlight's coming through, and you could operate in this light. There's that much light.
Did you notice any marks on her face when you were speaking with her?
No.
Oh my God. Oh, we're almost there. We're almost there.
Did you see any bruises?
No.
Did you see any redness?
No.
Did you notice any swelling?
No.
Did
Did
she
it look like Ms.
apply
Heard was wearing any
chemical
makeup?
cream?
No.
Had you seen her wearing makeup before?
Yeah.
And you had seen her not wearing makeup before?
Yeah, I seen, like I said, with a face mask, doing a face mask, no makeup, hanging around, waking up in the morning, with makeup, glammed out to go out. And it's 3.5 years of seeing her in different forms.
Did you speak with Mr. Drew about anything at that point?
Well, yeah, after I said that, hey, what's going on? And he gave me the high sign to like, hey, follow him.
Damn. Damn, that's messed up. All right. Well, would it be West Virginia versus Gibson? Well, I'll have to find the trial. Oh, yeah, and our grandfather and his brothers used to rob coal trains for the neighborhood, for like all the poor people. They would rob coal trains. Right, we got to get back on subject. We're not. We're almost there. Does she have any Amica cream?
We went into my apartment and had a conversation.
And what happened after you had that conversation with Mr. Drew?
We left the apartment and we go walking back towards penthouse 1. And as I'm walking back, I say to Amber, as I'm walking up, he hit you? And she goes, yeah, he threw a phone at me and hit me. And I'm looking, because I had just seen her 2 feet away, and I'm going, where? And she puts her head out. She puts her face out like that for me to look at the right side of her face. And I'm looking, but at the point also, I'm looking, and I turn around, get on the other side. We're in the doorway. So I'm on this side with the light shining this way from the doorway with the lights above, but the sunshine. And she's got her face out like this, looking, to show me. And I'm looking, and I inspect the face. I'm looking at her forehead. I'm looking at the side of her eye. I'm looking at her cheek. I'm looking at her chin. I'm looking at the other side of the face. I'm looking at the whole thing. And I don't see anything. I don't see anything I don't see a cut, a bruise, swelling, redness. It's just Amber's face that she's going like this and showing me. So I'm not seeing anything. I back up, and I'm making a joke. I make a joke going, well, I don't see anything, but maybe all the beauty from one side of your face to the other side of the face is outshining everything, so I can't see anything. And she laughed, and she, smiled, and I just looked at everybody and said, hey, it sounds nuts. And I went and I said, I gotta go, and I gave her a hug and kissed her on that side of the face. Kissed her on that side of the face, and then I left. Said goodbye.
What was her reaction when you kissed her on that side of the face?
Nothing.
Did she flinch?
No.
Did you see Ms. Heard again the next day?
Yeah.
When was that?
So that's
I'm digging up bones. I'm digging up bones.
Monday. That was May 22nd, my birthday. Then the next day is Monday, the 23rd. I had woken up with a chest cold, and I heard a knock on the door, and it's Amber. So I opened up the door.
Around what time was that?
That's, I want to say, maybe around noontime, maybe a little bit before. Maybe it could have been a little bit, I think around noontime again. And I went downstairs and I opened up the door.
And when you opened the door, did you have a good view of Ms. Heard?
Absolutely, yeah.
How was the lighting?
Lighting's fine. Lighting from outside, and there's light from my place, yeah. So the lighting was great.
Did you see any marks on Ms. Heard's face at that time?
No, same thing like the day before. There's no redness, there's no swelling, there's no bruises, there's no cuts, there's no nothing. This is Amber, looking like Amber.
Did you notice if she was wearing any makeup at that point?
Objection. Did you notice if the carpet was dirty?
She didn't look like she was wearing makeup then either.
What did Ms. Heard say to you during that encounter?
She was knocking on my door to see if I would take her house key, to let the cleaning lady in, because she had to go somewhere. And I woke up that day and I had some kind of chest cold thing. I was upstairs laying down. And so I looked at her and I said, hey, listen, I'm feeling sick. I'm going to be upstairs laying down this entire time for the day or whatever. And that, so I can't do it. And then she stood there and is like, well, I got to figure out what to do. Like maybe if she was only dependent upon me to give the housekeeper the key. It's the same, the housekeeper cleans both of our places.
Michael. Or Ricky. Maybe you should get you some headphones and then we can do a live stream about our grandfather who started the coal miners war, and we can do a thing on him live. Get your shit together.
Places. And so I said, hey, listen, why don't you go ahead and take the
Going to buy from the company dollar. No, hold on. Going down to the holler after I buy me some stuff with the company dollar. Yeah, they sure did. Yep.
the key and put it in an envelope and bring it downstairs to the concierge, one of the.
Our grandfather is why there is it. Our great grandfather is the reason there is no company dollar.
That's where the key will be, and tell Hilda, who is the housekeeper, that that's where the key is, and that's it. And you're set. And she's like, yeah, okay, I guess I could do that. And I'm 3 feet away from her, 2.5, 3 feet away from her, talking with her.
And how long did that conversation last?
3 minutes.
Did you see Ms. Hurd again the next day?
Yes, I did.
Where did you see her?
All right. I go down. I'm leaving my apartment on Tuesday to go downstairs to the cafe to go get something hot to drink. I still haven't shopped or anything for what's a chest cold, and so I wanted something hot to drink. I go downstairs, and as I'm locking my door, that all of a sudden a group of women come up to penthouse 3, because in the corridor on the graph you can see we share the same corridor. So I'm locking my door, and a group of women show up.
No, that's the only noble thing our family's known for. That's the only guy in our family you should give props to. Because our oldest ancestor is actually the man, King Elric, that started the Dark Ages. So like I said, our grandfather, and really don't even be proud of him because he was a socialist. So, Oh, and a veteran, but mostly a socialist.
Did you recognize who the women were?
3 of them, yeah.
Who were they?
It was, something, I'm unsure if it was 4 or 5 women, but it's Amber, it's her sister Whitney, and it's Melanie Iglesias, who's a makeup artist for Johnny and Amber, and then there's 2 other women I didn't recognize, but not sure.
Did you interact with the women at all?
Well, after closing the.
Socialists are communists in suits. Huh. If you're a socialist at one time in your life, it's the same as being a socialist another time in your life. You're just a communist in a suit.
Whitney.
You're a communist in rags. Socialists are communists in rags. They're peasants that think they're somebody.
Who calls me her spirit animal, came running down the, down the hallway going, Isaac, spirit animal. And I'm going, hey, listen, I'm not feeling so hot. I'm not feeling so good. And I get duck under her arms, stop. And I love you, but stop. and I duck under her arms, and I go past, and I'm passing the other ladies, Amber and her, who she's with, and I'm looking at.
Taught her how to put bruises on her own face. And she sucked at it. She was taught by a professional how to bruise her face, and she sucks at it.
Them, they're laughing of this whole scene, and then that was it. And then I went past, and went down and got some hot tea.
Did you see Ms. Heard's face during that encounter?
It was a quick glance, but nothing's just shot out to me to like notice anything.
Did you see Ms. Heard again the day after that?
Well, I saw her again that day.
Oh, can you describe that, please?
Yeah, that on the way back from me being outside at the cafe, having a tea, I come walking back in, and now all her and the women that she was with are coming back out, and we're in the lobby. And so, and the doors of the lobby, it's all windows, there's great light shining through the entire lobby. And the women, there's a table in the middle of the lobby, and her friends, or I don't know if they're friends or not, I know three, one's a sister and the other one's a friend. They're walking on one side of the table, and then she's on the other side of the table where I'm walking, and now we're walking past each other, and she's, of course we're gonna acknowledge each other and looking at each other, and now she's the sun shining right in our face. It's to my back because I'm walking in, and so that's like this, and saying, all right, hey, all right, enjoy yourself, have a good time, or whatever you're doing, and go by. And I went up, and that was it. That was the second time that I saw her, and that's on Tuesday.
And did you get a good look at her face during that second encounter?
Absolutely, the sun shining right on her face.
Did you notice anything unusual about her face?
Nothing, no cuts, no bruises, no swelling, no redness, no, it's Amber. It's Amber's face.
And then did you see Ms. Heard again the day after that?
Yes, I did.
And that's Wednesday, May 25th?
That's right.
Where did you see her?
At that point, I was like, okay, I got to shop for something because otherwise I'm not going to get rid of this chest cold. I'm going to go to the store, and on the way back, in between the garage and the building, there's this room with vestibule, that's you have to walk through. And I'm coming in to go into the building, and Amber and Whitney, her sister, are coming out of the building to go into the garage, and we met there.
How long did you speak with them, if at all?
Yeah, we spoke. That's so with
I'm walking here. Hey, I'm walking.
each other. I'm with them, Amber and Whitney, across from me. We're 2.5 feet, 2 feet away from each other, talking. Of course, and so we stop, of course, to say, "Hey, what's up? What are you doing? Where you going? Where you going? Where you coming from?" I have bags of food in my hand, of stuff that I went and I bought. And so I said, "Hey, I'm coming from shopping. I finally bought myself some stuff to get rid of this chest cold thing." And they go, and they're going to the CVS. And they look at me, and so what's yapping, everyone's smiling and stuff. And she says, "You sure we can't get you anything? How about we get you some aspirin or some cold stuff?" I said, "No, I think I got everything." And and they said, "You sure?" And I said, yeah, of course, I got it. Don't sweat it. And a kiss or whatever. I got my hands. I can't hug or whatever. So, and then I said to see you, and I went up, and they went through the garage. That was it that day.
Did you have a good look at her face?
He doesn't give you the vibes with the kissing on the cheek, and he has a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree. He paints. And he talks like that. And he talks very respectful about his man friend. Without saying, yeah, we went up there, Netflixed and chilled, and we had dinner, and we hung out. Like, he was trying to get her to stop talking about his man friend. Well, they didn't test if he had a cold or not. He just said he did. And I don't care if he's gay. I don't care. I was just saying he's classy about it. He's not in there. I'm with my boyfriend. I don't care what they was doing. I was trying to get laid. See, he wasn't being disrespectful, but he had class. He's classy.
In that conversation?
Yes, this room, yes, yeah, this room, it's completely lit, that it's a spot, and there's a camera taking, cameras.
Smoke 'em
always
if
on,
you got
security
'em.
camera. And it's always, and so it's got good lighting and stuff. Because this is a spot where if you use your fob key to go into the building, well, the door takes a long time to, it's one of those things with the pressure thing that the door just doesn't close shut. It takes a while for it to close. Someone could be in the garage who's not supposed to be in the garage, run and hold the door open. And then they get into the apartment building, and then who knows, maybe somebody gets ripped off. But so it's well lit for security reasons, and that there's a camera there. It's taking pictures, doing what the camera does.
Was Ms. Heard wearing makeup during that discussion?
Neither of them looked like they were wearing makeup at all. Whitney had this hat on that it was a fun hat or whatever, and that no makeup. I don't even know Whitney to be a makeup person, and that Amber, no, she looked like she was just natural Amber. It's all just as always, no makeup.
Did you notice any marks on Ms. Heard's face?
No.
Did you notice any swelling?
No swelling. There's no nothing. There's no swelling, no bruising, no redness, no cuts, no. I don't even nothing.
Turning back to May 21st for a second, when you first heard that Ms. Heard told you Mr. Depp had hit her, do you recall that?
Say that again?
When Ms. Heard told you that Mr. Depp had hit her on May 22nd,
Yeah, my birthday.
how did you feel hearing her say that?
All right. What's the relevance to how he felt?
I mean, it's a present sense impression of how he perceived that in that moment.
I'll sustain the objection.
Mr. Birch, did you see Ms. Heard at all the rest of that week of May 23rd?
No.
Did you learn at some point in time that Ms. Heard had filed for divorce from Mr. Depp?
No, Michael, that's not. Or Ricky. Sorry, I forget you're not your twin brother. Ricky. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, a lot of people that like their own sex are really blatant and loud and disrespectful about it, and they got to put it in your face. He was really respectful about it. Like, he was trying not to make it a thing. He's one of those don't ask, don't tell kind of gay people, and it's really respectful, and I like it. I like that when you're respectful, but I don't care you're gay. I care that you're loud and disrespectful.
Say that again?
Did you learn at some point in time that Ms. Heard had filed for divorce from Mr. Depp?
Yeah.
Feather, what are you conceding? Don't concede. Don't concede. Don't ever concede. Never. Manifest destiny. Do not concede.
How did you learn that?
I learned it from the internet. After the weekend, around at probably Monday, either Sunday or Monday, I'm on the internet and I end up seeing a picture of, it was the Friday of that week, the past week, and there's a picture of Amber wearing a black morning dress and with this brown mark on her cheek, and that she's been to a divorce. She went to go file for divorce. That's how I found out.
Were you surprised when you saw that?
Surprised is not the word. It's like, what the hell is this? What's going on?
At any point when you had seen her during that prior week, had she told you that she intended to file for divorce?
Objection. Leading.
I'll allow it. Go ahead. You can answer the question, sir.
What's the question again?
At any point when you had seen her during that week, had Ms. Heard told you that she intended to file for divorce?
No, she never once. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday or Friday, not even see it? No, there's no, I'm clueless. She did not say anything about divorce.
I'm willing to bet he's not a taker. He's a giver, and he doesn't do butt stuff. I'm willing to bet he's the man and he gets the head. I don't think he's a taker. He's a giver. I don't think he takes it. I think he gives it. He's too sweet to be a taker.
So what did you think when you saw those pictures and read the articles and learned that she was filing for divorce?
All right.
I'm sorry, objection relevance to what he thought.
I mean, it builds on all of the testimony he's given previously. Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection.
When did you see Ms. Heard next after that?
She knocks on my door June 3rd, a Friday night, June 3rd. She knocks on my door around 11 o'clock is the next time that I see her.
And what happened when she knocked on your door on June 3rd?
I opened up the door, and naturally, something I'll say is, hey, how you doing? To say hello. So I open up the door and say, hey, how you doing? And she looks at me and she says, not feeling so hot that I made some food. Would you like to come over and eat with me? And at that point, after, everything I've seen.
Well, I speculated for you. He's just too sweet to be a taker.
I said, listen, me and you, we're not going to talk anymore. After everything that I've just seen all week long, from the past week and change, listen, I'm confused, I'm angry, and I'm frustrated by everything that I've seen. And that I think the best thing is for me and you that we don't talk anymore.
Did she say anything in response?
Yes, in response to that, she looks at me and she says, I told Johnny I don't want anything. The lawyers are making me do all of this.
How you
And
doing?
that's what she said.
Did you respond to Ms. Heard?
No, what I was thinking was that to me, after saying that, after she said that to me, I'm thinking to myself, gay cock'em yum, hey, how,
Look, that's what he said. He said, "Go cock 'em yum." He's speaking Yiddish.
lawyers are making me do all of this. And that's what she said.
Did you respond to Ms. Heard?
No, what I was thinking was that to me, after saying that, after she said that to me, I'm thinking to myself, gay cock'em yum, hey, how,
All right. I'll sustain that objection. Next question.
Did you see any injuries on Ms. Heard's face on June 3rd when you spoke with her?
No.
Did you ever speak with Ms. Heard again after that?
Well, she
No. Her greedy ass friends were like, "Oh, you got this rich ass man? Girl, and he married you? Girl, you're abused. Yep, you're abused and we'll help you be abused. You're gonna take all of his money and give it to us, and then we're gonna leave you." Kind of like they did all this time. All of her friends have left her behind.
said to me, after that, the lawyers are making me do all of this. Then I was just looking at her, and then she ended what she was saying by saying, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. And I closed the door and would never talk to her ever again.
Did you have any interactions with the staff at the Eastern Columbia building about Ms. Heard's allegations against Mr. Depp?
Objection, Your Honor, may we approach?
Okay.
Mr. Baruch, did you have any interactions with the staff of the Eastern Columbia building about Ms. Heard's allegations against Mr. Depp?
Ooh, we laid
And at some
what?
point, did you see a security video taken in the Eastern Columbia building?
Yes.
When was that?
Sometime in June, maybe 2 weeks in or something like that. It's 2-3 weeks in.
Can you describe what you saw in that video?
Yes, I can. There was a video of Amber and Whitney waiting at the elevator, a mezzanine level, coming from the garage, obviously, and waiting for the elevator. And Whitney does this to Amber. Pow! And hits her, like faking hitting her in the face, going pow! And then they start laughing.
Did Ms. Heard react at all in that video to the fake punch that you observed Whitney throw?
Yeah, she's laughing. After doing it, they both are, laughing at each other, with each other.
Mr. Baruch, do you know who Elon Musk is?
Sure.
Have you ever seen Mr. Musk in person?
Yeah. I learned how everyone in Hollywood is crazy when Dean Carradine hung himself while masturbating. Then I was like, oh, the world is over.
Yeah.
Where did you see him in person?
First time was I'm getting into the elevator on the rooftop, penthouse level. I'm going into the elevator, and he's coming out of the elevator, going past.
And when did that take place?
This is after May. This is sometime June, it could be July, but after May.
In that same year, 2016?
Yeah.
And when was the second time that you saw Mr. Musk?
One morning, waking up and going and opening up the shades to the bedroom, and it's on the second floor, and it overlooks the balconies, our joining balconies, because my balcony joins with John and Amber's balcony, and that opening up the shades, I see Elon Musk going through the balcony door on their side to then walk down a common corridor to that then at the end leads to a door that you walk out to the rest of
She was fucking people in Johnny's bed. She fucked Elon Musk in Johnny Depp's bed. How fucking gross is that? Oh no, there's another one too. There's another one. Who, Zac Efron, who might be her baby daddy, but I think she's just borrowing that kid because I don't ever remember seeing her pregnant, and nobody ever showed a picture of her pregnant.
the rooftop. And you go to the pool, you go to the gym and stuff. So I'm looking out, and the view out the window is of both of our balconies. So that's where I saw him.
And when was that?
Oh, sometimes it's either June, July, but it's after May.
Mr. Bruce, how long have you known Mr. Depp?
Met him, I believe, in 1980, and what's 42?
Yeah, it's the pretty ones, man. I'm telling you. I'm only complicated, I'm only a little bit complicated because I'm only a little bit pretty. Pretty girls, man, they are bad for you. Oh, yeah, she has a kid. She talks all about it. In her testimony.
Well, it's going to be 42 years.
Have you ever seen Mr. Depp be violent when angry with Ms. Heard?
Objection leading.
How?
I'll allow the question. Okay.
I'm allowed to answer?
Yes, yes.
What's the question again?
Have you ever seen Mr. Depp be violent when angry with Ms. Heard?
No. Well, from what I said from before, there was an argument that I walked in, so there's that, but have I ever seen him be violent to her with physicality? No.
Did you ever see him hit her?
Never.
In your 3.5 years living at the Eastern Columbia building next to Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard, did you ever observe any injuries or marks on Ms. Heard?
Objection leading, Your Honor.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. I think she's borrowing this kid for trial.
leaving. So, good.
Did you ever notice anything unusual about Ms. Heard when you were living at the Eastern Columbia building with her?
Objection, leading, Your Honor.
I'll allow it.
I can answer?
Yes, sir.
What's the question again?
Did you ever notice anything unusual about Ms. Heard during the time that you were living next door to her at the Eastern Columbia building?
Besides having great teeth? No.
Mr. Birch, are you appreciative of everything that Mr. Depp has done for you?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading and relevant.
All right, I'll sustain us to leaving. All right.
Mr. Birch, how do you feel about what Mr. Depp has done for you?
Objection. Well, you know what? No, I'll go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. I think that's withdrawn. Go ahead. You can answer the question.
Oh.
You could just answer the question, sir.
And the question is,
How do you feel about everything that Mr. Depp has done for you?
oh, come on, it's unreal. It's, you think too much about it, you're gonna cry. That, I appreciate everything that he's done for me. It's like stuff you can't pay back.
Would you lie for him under oath?
Oh, no.
Leading.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Have you given truthful testimony today, sir?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading.
It's still leading. I'll sustain the objection.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. All right. Cross-examination?
Okay. Get your steak and eggs and your biscuits and gravy, because here it comes. He's about to give you breakfast on cereal after breakfast for dinner.
Let's start with the makeup. Now, you know that Ms. Heard was...
Excuse me. I didn't
sorry?
hear the beginning of what you
Here we go.
started.
I said, let's start with the makeup.
Okay.
Okay. You're aware that Ms. Heard has both modeled and been an actor and had been for many years before you met her, correct?
I knew she acted. I didn't know she was a model.
Okay. Were you aware that she had a commercial agreement with L'Oreal, for example?
When, now or back then?
What's your knowledge?
I don't know any of that.
Okay. Have you ever been with Ms. Heard when she has put makeup on?
I've been in the room, yeah, when makeup was getting put on her, yeah.
When makeup was being put on her, was this for some acting role or something like that?
It was an event that they were going to.
So that was somebody else applying makeup to Ms.
Yeah.
Heard, who was going to have some gala event that she was going to?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever been with Ms. Heard in her bathroom or anything when she's applying her makeup in the morning?
No.
Okay. Are you familiar with Amica cream?
What is it?
Amica?
Amica?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Do you know what type of foundation Ms. Heard uses?
No.
Do you know what type of concealer Ms. Heard uses?
No.
Do you know what type of tint Ms. Heard uses?
I have no clue.
Do you know what types of powders Ms. Heard uses?
No.
So when you're saying that you didn't notice any makeup, would it be fair to say that you yourself are not familiar with what type of makeup Amber Heard uses on a daily basis?
I don't know what she uses on a daily basis.
That's my point. Now, the first time that you saw her, which is May 22nd,
Yeah.
Ms. Heard was there.
Apparently, she's at a 5-star rating. She is what you call a shit. Deposition attorney. She's good at depositions and settling cases. She's not a trial lawyer. Trial lawyering is different than deposition lawyering. And for her to try to do her first fucking trial on this trial of all the trials, that was a stupid ass idea. And she probably retired. Hopefully she retired.
Are you aware she was on her way to somebody else's birthday party? Not yours, but somebody else's that day.
No.
Okay. Can you tell?
You got me there. You got me there. And I don't know. I think I'm the only one that openly calls him gay. But I don't know how he doesn't know these things. But, there are manly gay men dip shitting lawyer. Yes, that's it. That's exactly what she is.
Tell me what her hairstyle was that day.
It's just down,
Down as in,
just regular. How she has it up now. She's got some kind of hairstyle, but no, she's
Look, look. I watched so many attorneys. They said there's a difference because she was Obama's lawyer, I think, also. So you know she's crooked because she's a leftist lawyer. So she's crooked as fuck.
she was no hair down, regular, no makeup, just hanging.
well, when you say no makeup, you don't know she was not wearing makeup, correct?
For a fact,
Correct.
no.
And you don't know whether she had applied Amica cream, correct?
No.
And
I
you-
didn't even know what Amica cream is.
And you don't know whether she had applied concealer or foundation or powder or tint, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, if she's going out to a party,
Yes. Yeah. Bear. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
do you think she would want to have her bruise exposed?
Objection, Your Honor.
What's the objection? Cause for
What?
speculation. All right, I'll sustain the objection.
What is she trying to look sad for? What is she trying to look sad for?
So, do you recall what Ms.
I didn't know that either. That again, I floating around these Q communities back in the day. That's the only reason I even know her name is because someone's like, "Oh, that used to be Obama's attorney for deposition shit." That's how she got a 5-star rating for deposition lawyer, not trial lawyer. Yeah, yeah. This shit is crazy.
Heard wearing that day?
You know something? I could have sworn she had on a schmata dress, hippie dress at that particular time, but I could be confusing it with June 3rd. She's got this Victorian type of long hippie dress that has embroidery, and she definitely was wearing that night.
All right, but let's go back to May 22nd. Do you
Yeah.
recall what she was wearing?
I could have swore she was wearing another schmata dress that I've seen her hanging around the apartment with.
And do
really
you recall
is.
what color?
No,
Okay. Do you recall what jewelry Ms.
No.
Heard was wearing that day? No. Okay. Now, you indicated that there was a security guard there, and there
Yes.
was Josh Drew, correct? And was there anyone else there?
yeah, the two locksmiths.
Okay, so-
And also in the apartment, for a fleeting second, a person went walking by and who seemed to me looked like it was Raquel Pennington, but it could have been another friend that was supposedly staying with him.
Okay, so you saw somebody come by. So how many?
No, go through the living room and then they're out of the picture because they went upstairs. So that's somebody that else was in that room but walking by.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you talked to Josh. What did Josh tell you? Josh
When?
Drew, he took you to the side. What did he tell you?
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Zac Efron. That's Zac Efron sneaking around.
All right, I'll sustain the objection to hearsay.
All right. Before you spoke with Josh Drew in the other room, what, if anything, had been said about what Mr. Depp did?
What jewelry she was wearing in 2014.
The night before?
Objection to the extent it calls for hearsay, Your Honor.
All right, the hearsay objection, I'll sustain that objection.
I-
Next question.
I'm asking what, if anything?
That was still explicit hearsay.
But he already testified about what Amber said. I'll go back to that.
Okay.
So what exactly did Amber Heard tell you happened before?
As I was walking up the first time, she turned to me and said, "Johnny came by last night and got violent. So I'm changing the locks on penthouse 1, 3, and 5. Don't worry about your place."
Okay. Did you ask her for any more specifics on what she
About
meant by
changing
getting
locks?
violent?
Huh?
Did you ask her for any specifics about what she meant by he came by and got violent?
No.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm going to jump you to the next day for a few, and then I'm going to come back. But let's go to the next day. So the next day, you testified that you saw her twice, correct?
From Sunday? No, Monday I saw her once in the morning, but I want to
That's when
say
she
around
came by
12.
to ask if you could have the key, or that you could leave the key for the house, right?
Right, for Hilda.
And you weren't feeling well, right?
That's right.
Okay, so you wouldn't have been standing very close to Amber, right? Because you were sick?
I'm on the.
Well, I opened up the door and I'm holding the door. We're like 3 feet away from each other. Yeah.
Okay, and you told her you were sick, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know where, she was going out someplace, correct?
Oh,
She had,
yeah.
she was going somewhere.
All
Yeah.
right.
She wasn't going to be there.
All right. Do you know she had applied any Amica cream that morning to her face?
No.
Do you know whether she had applied any concealer to her face that morning?
No.
Do you know whether she had applied any foundation that morning?
No.
Do you know whether she had applied any tint that morning?
No.
Do you know whether she had applied any powder that morning?
No.
Now, the next
I
day.
can tell you, she looked like she wasn't wearing any makeup.
Right, and would you agree that people who are models and actors can be pretty darn good with putting makeup on so that you can't tell they're in makeup?
Objection, Your Honor.
No.
Foundation calls for speculation.
I think that's a fair question to ask him.
I'll sustain as a speculation.
All right.
Next question.
Do you have any knowledge of the skills of Amber Heard with respect to putting on makeup?
Oh my God.
Well, it
shut
can't be that
up.
good because she's got a friend who is a makeup artist who came over to do makeup, but I don't really know.
Right, and that makeup artist that comes over does it when she's going to be on some show or in some public.
Yeah. All right. All right. I am getting in trouble. All right. Hold on. Where are we at in life? No one knows. Okay. So, damn, this thing is breaking. Anyway, I want to thank you for watching. I want to tell you, like and subscribe. I love you so much. Go give your pillow some head and your sheets some ass and have the sweetest dreams ever. Love you. Oh, there's an hour left in the video. There's an hour left of his testimony. And Dustin will probably kick my ass if I'm up at 2 in the morning. So, I do gotta go to bed. And I am also quite high as shit. And last time I got this high, I embarrassed myself. It was a great time. Anyway. Good night, guys. I love you. Now, give your pillow some head and your sheets some ass. Good night. I love you. Sweet dreams.